Is the defense ready to call its next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. We call Charlie Adelson.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do, sir.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly.
Charlie, let's start with the most important question. Did you cause the death of Professor Dan Markel?
Absolutely no.
Did you hire anyone to kill him?
No.
Did you put any letters in any diaper bags of Katie Magbanowa to have Professor Markel killed?
No.
Now, before we get there, let's spend some time on your background. How old are you?
I'm 47 years old.
Where were you raised?
I was raised in Coral Springs, Florida.
When were you arrested in this case?
I was arrested April 21st, 2022.
And by the way, are you? How do you feel right now?
I'm really nervous.
Why are you nervous?
My whole life depends on it.
Where have you been living since you were arrested a year and a half ago?
Leon County Jail.
Growing up, what was your family like?
It was pretty normal. I was in the middle of 3 children. My dad was a dentist. My mom was a school teacher. Played a lot of sports. Pretty normal upbringing.
Do you have a brother and a sister?
I have an older brother and a younger sister.
How close were you with your siblings growing up?
My brother I wasn't real close with. My sister I wasn't really that close with either, probably until I got into high school. And we were probably closer in age and had more in common. And then I got closer to her as the years went on.
Your family growing up, would you describe it? How would you describe it financially?
I would say it was upper middle class. And then in 92, my dad lost a lot of money. And then wasn't upper middle class after that. And then my dad worked hard, and he worked until he was 78. He retired.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to public school in Coral Springs. I attended Terravilla High School.
Was school easy for you?
Not really. I mean, I had to work really hard to get good grades, and I really didn't get good grades until I went to college.
Where did you go to college?
I went to UCF in Orlando.
And after graduating from college, what did you do next?
I went to dental school.
Where did you go to dental school?
I went to dental school at Nova Southeastern in Fort Lauderdale.
After dental school, what did you do?
I did a residency in periodontics, and I did that at Nova Southeastern also.
Briefly, what is periodontics?
Periodontics is the surgery of the gums and bone, and it's 3 more years after dental school.
During your residency, did you work?
I did. I'd moonlight and I'd work nights and weekends as a general dentist.
When your residency ended, what was your financial situation?
I had about $200,000 in student loans.
Now, after graduating from your residency, what did you decide you were going to do?
I started basically moonlighting when I was in dental school, and then when I got out, I really didn't have money to start a business. So I started working for just individual dentists, where I'd come in and do the surgery for them in-house, so they wouldn't have to send the work out, but the patients could still be seen by a specialist. So I'd travel from office to office.
When you started, and I think, when did you graduate your residency?
graduated my residency in 2006.
When you started, how many offices did you travel to?
When I first started, it was just the first office that I was moonlighting in when I was in my residency. And then through an assistant that had worked there, she introduced me to a couple offices, and then those offices introduced me to more people, and it grew from there. By the end of the first year, I was probably working in, I would say, 6 or 8 offices.
By the time frame of 2014, when Professor Markel was murdered, how many offices were you working in, approximately?
Between 30 and 35 offices I would come in to.
When you graduated, where did you live?
When I graduated Perio, I lived in an apartment across the street from school, and then I bought my house that I still lived in 16 years or 20 years later after that.
And that house is where?
On Whale Harbor. I moved in there in 2006.
Now, during this time frame of 2014, can you describe for the jury how far you would travel? In other words, how far were the offices apart from one another?
I never turned any work down, so I had an office as far south as Cutler Ridge, which is a little bit north of Homestead. It's a good hour and a half south of Fort Lauderdale. And then my furthest office I went to north was in East Port St. Lucie, which is a good hour and 45 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale.
Port St. Lucie is probably about halfway between Miami and Orlando. Is that fair to say, or closer to Orlando?
I'd say it's probably closer to Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, your typical work week, what did it look like?
I would work in usually 2 offices a day. I would start around 8 or 9 o'clock, work in one office till about 1 o'clock, and then I'd go to another office and I'd piggyback it. I'd try to be in another office that was in the same vicinity as the first office, and I'd just usually start there around 1:30. I'd have it where it's only a 5 or 10 minute drive to the second office. I would tell them I could stay as late as you need, and then when people had emergencies, which when you work in 30 offices, there's always someone that has an issue, I would come into their office. I would just say, just have an assistant stay, and when I got done with that second office, if it was 8 o'clock, 8:30, I would still go in and I'd work in the third office. So it was almost 2 offices on most days, and I would say 20% and 30% of the time there was a third office.
How many days a week did you work? And again, we're talking about the 2014 time frame.
I was working 6 days a week, and then I was still working 6 days a week.
Now,
Sometimes every once in a while there'd be a big case, and my whole week was booked up, and the patient needed something, and it was hours, and I didn't have time, so an office would open up on Sunday, and I would go in on Sunday and do the work.
for the most part, in your job working in these offices, what form of payment were you paid mostly in? Was it cash or some other form of payment?
The offices would always pay me an office check.
Now, were you ever paid in cash from these offices?
I wasn't paid from the offices that I worked for in cash, but if I was doing a work on like one of the assistants in the office or a friend of the dentist, and the dentist didn't want any money to come to him, and I was doing it as a favor, I would say just go ahead and pay me in cash for the materials. And then the materials were expensive. Sometimes they were hundreds, sometimes it was $1,000. And then but the dentist didn't want to take any of the money from that person. So he was like, I'm removing myself from the situation. So the person would pay me the cash just for the materials for the work that I did on them. And that was really just when I was doing favors, and it was sporadic. Sometimes more than other, depends on the month.
By the way, backtracking a little bit, growing up, what profession was your dad in?
My dad was a general dentist.
And did your mom work growing up when you grew up?
She had 3 kids, and she still worked as a substitute teacher, where she would come in sporadically, but she wasn't working full time after she had the 3 of us.
Did there come a time where she worked in your dad's dental practice?
Yeah, I would say probably after the kids went to college, or maybe probably towards the end of high school or college, my mom came in and was doing front desk work and helping my dad out.
And what other roles did she have in the office?
She did the bookkeeping. She helped me with all my financial stuff as far as like paying insurances, making stuff with anything that was due at a certain time, licenses. She paid salaries at the office, and then also did front desk with Erica.
All right. Let's talk about the Adelson Institute. When you became this traveling periodontist, were one of the places that you traveled to your dad's dental practice?
Yes.
How often did you work at the Adelson Institute?
I would work at my dad's office, I would say every 4 to 6 weeks. And I would piggyback it. There was another office that I worked at every 2 weeks that was in the same plaza as my dad's. So I would finish there usually about 4 o'clock, and then I'd go into my office, and then I'd start working there by 4:15, and I'd stay as late as I needed to. 10, 11 o'clock.
Do you remember what the full name of the practice was called?
Well, originally, or when we changed it to.
Well, let's start with what you changed it to.
Okay. Well, when I graduated my residency in periodontics, I thought since I was joining my dad's practice and it was now going to have a periodontist there, I thought we'd rename the practice and give it a fancy name. So we called it we copyrighted the Adelson Institute for Implants and Aesthetic Dentistry.
Okay. Now, growing up, did it have that name?
No.
It was just a plain old dental practice, right?
Yeah, it was just my dad and his 3 employees.
How many people worked at the Adelson Institute?
There was Erica Johnson, Clarissa. Erica was the front desk. Clarissa was my dad's assistant since 1979 until he retired 2 years ago. And then Amy was the hygienist. And then my mom when she would be there.
And your mom controlled the checkbook?
Yeah, she handled that stuff.
Who did all the billing for the practice?
My mom and Erica
Okay.
did the billing.
How many dentists were in the practice?
Just one dentist, just my dad.
Did there come a time when you bought the practice from your dad?
Yeah, my dad was going to sell the practice, and I thought it would be a good idea for me to buy it, and I thought maybe I'd run it and it would be something that I would always have. I didn't like the idea of it being sold, so I bought it from my dad when he wanted to slow down in 2012.
During the time period of 2014, who owned the practice?
In 2014, I was the owner of the practice.
Okay. Now, during the time frame of the wires in 2016, who owned the practice?
I had sold it back to my dad in 2015.
Why did you sell it back to your dad?
Because I didn't have any time to run it. And even though I bought it, nothing had changed. My dad was still the same dentist that was there. My mom was still the same person doing the books. And they were spending all their time running it. And I was so busy with my traveling periodontics, I didn't have time to dedicate to it. And it really wasn't financially, it wasn't feasible. And there wasn't a benefit.
I want to talk about cash a little bit. Do you like to collect cash?
I always have, yes.
Why?
I like it probably goes back to when I was a kid. I get $1 a week allowance, and I would save it up, and I just like the feeling of looking at it. I'd rather look at it than put it in the bank. So whenever I had cash, I always saved it up.
Now, were there several ways that you accumulated cash?
Yes, there was.
Did you have a real estate business or some real estate in 2014?
In 14, yes.
Okay. And would you accumulate cash through this business?
There was some cash that came in through that, yes.
Did you rent out dock space behind your house?
Yeah, I rented out my dock space behind my house since 2006, and it's been rented ever since.
And how would
same
you
person.
be paid for that dock space?
The guy would come down once a year, and he would pay me in cash for the year.
Were there other ways that you would accumulate cash over the years?
From whenever I did work on someone as a favor, and they were just paying me for the materials, I got paid in cash on that. And probably the biggest source of cash through the years is every time I went out, every chance I could, I used my credit card to build up the airline miles, and I'd always pay the tab, and whoever was there would just give me the cash, and it added up over the years. I've done that 20 years.
And once you had this cash, what would you do with it?
Whenever I had $1,000, I would staple it, and it was a packet. And it was really, I stapled it because it was just being saved. I wasn't spending it. And I was always using my credit card, so the cash built up.
Where would you put the cash?
I put it in my safe.
I'm going to go back to your business a little bit. When you started your business, did you make a lot of money the first couple years?
No. I mean, it took off pretty quick, but it wasn't where it was in 13, 14, or 15.
By 2011, approximately, how much money were you making?
I was probably making $350 a year.
And what did your income look like in the 2014 range?
14, I made between, I think, around 850 to 900,000.
What were your best years financially?
13, 14, and 15.
Have you ever been married?
No.
In the time frame of 2013-14, did you have any kids?
Back then, I didn't have my son.
During this 2013-2014 time frame, how would you succinctly describe your lifestyle?
Work came first. I, worked my whole life to get to where I was. So I wasn't turning any work down, and I was single, so I worked. I'd go to the gym late at night, and I'd probably go out one night a week, usually on a Saturday night when I'd go out.
Now, do you have any children now?
I've got one son.
How old?
5.
I want to talk to you about your relationship with your parents as an adult. Fair to say you're close with your mom and dad?
Yes.
As an adult, how often would you talk with your mom and dad?
I would talk to my mom more often, a lot more often, just because my dad was always working. But I talk to my mom every day.
Once a day or multiple times?
At least once a day, but most likely probably twice a day, because there was always, usually one thing was a personal thing and one thing was something having to do with the office or scheduling or something like that.
During the 2014 timeframe when you owned the office, did your mom work for you?
You could say that. Yeah.
Did she control the books?
She wrote the checks. Yeah, they had the checkbook at the house.
Now, was there any particular time that you would talk to your mom more often than other times?
Yeah, in the morning driving into work, I'd call my mom, and usually on the way home from work, I'd call them. Just depends on how long the drive was, really.
How involved was your mom in your life?
Business-wise, very involved, because she was running the office. Personal-wise, I would tell them things and keep them up to date with stuff and my life. But it was my life. I did whatever I wanted to do.
We're going to get to this later, but How involved was your mom in your sister's life?
I think she was more involved, and I think my sister involved my mom maybe more. And it just depends on different issues.
I want to talk a little bit about your sister, Wendy. As adults, before she married Professor Markel, how often would you talk with her?
I'd call my sister, I'd say about every 10 days or so we'd talk. I'd call her, but she was busy and she wasn't real good with the phone. So I would call her, and she would always take a day or two to call me back. I spoke to her half the time when I called. Half the time she didn't pick up.
How often would you see her, again, pre-marriage? How often would you see your sister?
Not a lot. In 1995, I left to go to college. In 97, she left to go to college up in Boston. So it was pretty much, I would say, holidays, like every 3-4 months. You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, sometimes during the summer. So maybe 3-4 times a year I see her.
There came a time when Wendy started dating Professor Markel, right?
Yes.
Do you remember when you first met him?
I do. I think he was in town, and I remember all of us going out to lunch. I think we went to a deli.
What did you think of him?
I thought he was a nice guy. I mean, he kind of seemed like all my other sister's boyfriends she's had in the past. I've never really had much in common with them. And she kind of seemed like the rest of them. But that was pretty much it.
Now, after they got married, what was your relationship like with Professor Markel?
It was the same as before they got married. I mean, we texted each other on our birthdays. I don't think we ever really called each other or hung out. I mean, I would just see him when he came over to the house with my sister.
And how often would you see him and your sister?
I would say twice a year, maybe, or roughly around there, maybe 3 times a year.
In the years that Professor Markel and your sister were married and living in Tallahassee, how often did you come to Tallahassee?
I'd only been to Tallahassee. I was there twice, I believe, when her children were born. And then once when I was working in Alabama. I had a research fellowship, and I was passing through Tallahassee. I spent the night with them, and I saw them that time too.
When Professor Markel and your sister were married, did you still communicate with your sister about the same amount of time?
It may have been a little less, because I remember when she had kids, I mean, she had even less time. So I probably spoke to her. I'd call her, and then probably more times than not, she didn't pick up the phone. And then I'd get a call back a couple days later. So it was pretty similar.
Did there come a time when you became aware that Wendy and Professor Markel were having marital issues?
Yes.
What did you learn?
I took my sister out to dinner when she had come to town, and we went to the Melting Pot. And I remember her telling me that they were having issues, and it was pretty serious.
Did she tell you that they were going through marriage counseling?
Yeah, that's when I found out, and because that's what I was going to say, is like, if you tried to work things out. And that's when I found out that they had been in counseling for 6 months. I didn't know about it before.
Now, what were some of the issues, if you remember, that she told you they were having?
He was becoming very, very religious. There was becoming issues with diet and how she was cooking in the house. She wasn't really respectful he wasn't really respectful of her career. He would belittle her. He obviously seemed like he lost his eye for her, and she seemed like she'd lost his eye for him, and she wasn't happy.
Now, did she complain about violence or danger or anything like that?
Never.
Did she complain that he was not a good father?
No, he was very attentive to his sons.
Did you learn at some point that your sister was going to file for divorce?
I did.
And when you heard that she was going to file for divorce, how did you feel?
I felt bad for her. I mean, she was sad. I mean, no one goes to get married to get divorced. But she seemed like she'd spent 6 months in therapy with him, and it didn't change anything how she felt, and he didn't change how he was. And I said, listen, the kids need to grow up in a happy household. Like, they can't have fighting. You can't have a miserable mom who's unhappy. You need to have, the kids are better off growing up in two separate households where there's a positive environment instead of negative.
Did your sister seem angry to you?
No, she seems sad.
How involved were you with the divorce proceedings?
I wasn't really involved with the divorce proceedings on the day-to-day stuff. I would definitely hear stories, most of which would come from my mom when I'd be driving to work in the morning or driving home. I would hear the latest update of what's going on. But I would say probably 20% came from Wendy and 80% came from my mom.
How did Wendy seem to you during the period when they were going through the divorce proceedings?
Extremely stressed, very stressed out.
How did your mom seem?
She was upset because my sister was stressed, and it was almost like a telephone game. Like my sister would vent to my mom, then my mom would be venting to me.
In general, was your perception that the litigation was very litigious?
Yeah, I did learn that. I mean, he was fighting over bicycles and all kinds of nonsense, and it seemed not to end.
Now, were there some big issues like relocation that were issues as well?
Yes.
Let's talk about relocation. Did there come a time that you learned that your sister filed a motion to try to relocate to South Florida?
I did.
And do you know why she wanted to relocate to South Florida?
Primarily, it was because she had no family in Tallahassee, and she had 2 young kids, and my parents lived in South Florida. I lived in Fort Lauderdale, and she wanted to be closer to family, and she had a better, more secure job for her career in South Florida.
How did you feel about the idea of your sister and the boys moving to South Florida?
I thought it would be great. I mean, I hadn't lived in the same town as her since 1995, so I thought it would be great to have her in town.
How important was it to you?
I mean, it wasn't real important to the point like I thought about it all the time, but I mean, if I thought about it, I'd be happy to have her back home.
How important was it to your mom and your dad?
To them it was very important. They wanted her to come back because she had no family in Tallahassee.
And what was your understanding of what Professor Markel thought about this relocation effort?
I knew he was against it, and he wanted her to stay in Tallahassee with him.
Did you learn at some point that the petition was denied for relocation?
Yeah.
And when it was denied, how did your mom feel about it?
My mom they were very disappointed. They were unhappy.
How about your sister?
She wasn't that disappointed, I guess, because she's a lawyer and she knows, what's the probability of something like this happening. And she said it was a long shot. She said she wasn't really expecting it, but it was worth it just to take a shot to see if it would happen.
Were you angry?
No. I mean, it didn't change anything in my life.
Now, we've seen some emails regarding converting the boys to Christianity. We've seen some pretty out there emails from your mom. Do you recall seeing those emails in this trial?
I do, yeah.
And do you recall whether you saw those emails when they were written, back when they were written?
Yeah, I would get forwarded to me all kinds of stuff, for sure.
Did you come up with any of those ideas?
No.
Now, on some of those emails, we'll see that you respond, "I like it." Why did you respond that way?
Well, my sister tried being really nice to Danny. It got her nowhere, and he was being really litigious, and he was looking to give her a hard time. And I thought that I thought it was a way that she would go ahead and give him a hard time back and kind of push his buttons the way he was trying to push her buttons. So basically, if he's being a jerk to you, just be a jerk back and see if maybe he'll stop. So I didn't think any of those things she was actually ever going to follow through with, but I thought that it would really push his buttons. So I thought, why not? Give it a shot.
Now, I want to talk about the $1 million offer. Did you ever become aware of efforts by your family, including yourself,
Yes.
to offer Professor Markel money to allow your sister to relocate?
I did, yes.
And do you recall who came up with that idea?
It was my parents.
What were the terms of the offer? How much was it for?
The offer was for $1 million to have him move down south to South Florida with my sister and the boys, and that would afford him enough money that he could easily commute to his job in Tallahassee for the days that he worked, just the way senators in South Florida commute to Tallahassee all the time. And that was the idea behind it.
Now, how were you involved in this idea?
Not super involved, but I definitely said to my parents, I said, I will help, and I will pay a third of that $1 million. And when Wendy one day starts making real money, and she's able to, I want to be paid back.
At this point in time, were you making more money than your parents?
I was, yes.
Did you or your family ever speak with an attorney about the legality of this offer?
I didn't, but I know they wanted to run it by an attorney. I think they used Gary Cohn to run it by.
Do you know if the offer was ever made?
As I sit here today, I know that the offer was never made. But back when the offer I thought it was made and I thought it was turned down.
Did you, Charlie, you like to talk a lot, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I talk until I listened to all those tapes, and evidently I do. I mean, I knew I liked to talk, but didn't realize how much.
When you got involved in this $1 million offer, would you talk about it with others?
Yes.
How would it come up?
It would come up when people would say, doesn't your sister want to move back home? How's she doing? And I said, yeah, no, she definitely wants to move back home. We tried everything we could. Like, we even offered $1 million to Dan to see if he would move down with her, and it didn't work. Like, he turned it down.
Now, did you ever talk with Catherine Magbanowa? And we'll talk a lot about her in a little bit. But did you ever talk with Catherine Magbanowa about that $1 million offer?
Yes, I did.
And what do you remember telling her?
The same thing I told everybody else. Is it came up when she was asking me about, doesn't your sister want to move back home? And I said, yeah. I said, we tried everything we could. We even offered Danny $1 million to move back to South Florida, and it didn't work. And it's the same thing I said to her is what I said to a bunch of people.
How did she respond?
She was like, wow, that's a lot of money. She's like, you got to take out a loan for that? And I said, no, I got cash. I can pay for it.
Okay. Now let's talk about gifts to your sister during her divorce. In general, did you provide any financial assistance to Wendy during the divorce?
No, she never asked, and I never gave her any money.
Did you pay for her lawyers?
Never.
Now, did you give her any gifts? And let's just start with the broad question, and then we'll break it down. Did you
Yes.
give her any gifts?
Yes, I've given her gifts during her divorce.
Okay. Do you recall giving her a TV?
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, when she was moving out of the marital home, and she was starting, from scratch in a new house, she didn't take any of them, it only took her belongings. I said to my mom, I said, "What does Wendy need? Like, what does she need for the new place?" And she said, "Actually, she's leaving the TV sets. She needs a TV set for the house." So I said, "All right, fine." I said, "Go to the store up there, and go to Best Buy and pick out a really nice TV set, and I'll pay for it." I said, "Buy it, and I'll give you the money."
Now, do you recall making a joke that buying her a TV was cheaper than hiring a hitman? Something to that effect.
Yeah, it was. Want me to say what?
Yeah, tell me what the joke was.
What happened was, when I gave her the TV set as a divorce present, the stupidest thing I ever said in my life. And I said, I was going to get you a hitman, but the TV set was a lot cheaper, so I went with the TV set instead. And I said it as a complete joke, and it was stupid, but I do that a lot.
Did you make that joke to others?
Yes.
Did you make that joke many times throughout 2013 and 2014?
I made that joke when she was having problems and she was fighting and she was upset. I recycled the joke, and it was stupid.
Did you ever say that joke to Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, I did.
Just to be clear, did you ever look into hiring a hitman?
No, never.
Are you aware that the divorce proceedings settled in July of 2013?
Yeah, I believe it ended in summer of 13.
Now, how did your sister react to the settlement?
I think she found it as like a sense of relief. It seemed like she had closure. She knew what she was going to be doing and where she was going to be living, and I think she was just looking. I think she was happy. Happy in the sense that she was able to put it behind her.
What was the custody arrangement? Do you know what the custody arrangement was?
I know it was 50-50.
After the settlement, how were things with Professor Markel and your sister?
I think they were calm for a little bit, and then it got litigious. There'd be little brief areas of calm, and then I think he was kept trying to bring her back into court, and it started becoming litigious again.
What was your understanding of this mostly based on?
The things that I'd hear from my mom, probably 20% from my sister, 80% from my mom.
Was your mom upset?
She would get upset when my sister would tell her about Danny pushing her buttons and filing all these things in court and giving her a hard time.
What about you? During the period of all this litigation, what were your feelings about Professor Markel?
I thought he was being a jerk. I mean, hearing stories that he's showing up at her work and bad-mouthing her to other colleagues and saying horrible things about her, I thought he was just being a jerk to her.
Now, would you think about this all day long, in the morning and at night? I mean, how important was this to your life?
It wasn't. I mean, I would only think about it when I'd be listening to a story, and I'd be driving in the car talking to my mom. She would relay the latest that my sister told her, and then she'd be telling me, and that's when I would think about it. But I mean, I never for a second was at work thinking about it or doing activities that I enjoyed, thinking about it. When I wake up in the morning, I never thought about it.
Were you panicked at all about it? Were you concerned that your sister was going to be disbarred? Anything like that? Was that a big issue for you?
No, I mean, that was a nonsense threat.
When you would learn about things, though, would you talk about what was going on to others?
Yeah, I did talk a lot.
Why would you, considering your sister's divorce wasn't, and her issues with Professor Markel weren't a huge part of your life, as you've testified, why would you be talking about it to others?
One, I talked a lot.
How would it come up?
And it would come up when I'd be sitting at the dinner table and I'd hear this crazy story that my mom told me from earlier that day, and I guess it's more interesting than talking about teeth. So I would sit there and I'd share things with my girlfriend or friends, and I'd relay stories.
By the way, during this time period, and now I'm talking about late 13, second half of 13 and 14, were you still speaking with your sister about the same amount or more?
I would say it's probably about the same, that every 10 days or so we talk.
Did you travel to Tallahassee to check on her after she filed for divorce? How many times did you come to Tallahassee during this time period?
Never. I think the last time I came to Tallahassee was 2011 or 2010.
Now, what was your understanding of how Wendy felt about the idea of staying in Tallahassee as time went on?
I think she understood that's what her life was going to be. I mean, she loved her job up here. She was getting excited about things. She was dating people. She was embarking on her new life in Tallahassee.
What was her, did there come a time when she won an award, and what do you remember about that?
I remember, I was real proud of her. She wrote a book, and the book was selected by Florida State to be the mandatory reading for all incoming freshmen. And she was chosen to be the speaker to the incoming class, and that was to take place in August. And I know she was super excited about it, and we're all planning to come up there and be there for her.
Okay, I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about Catherine Magbanua. May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Take your time.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Catherine Magbanua. How did you first meet Catherine Magbanua?
I met Katie in the summer of 2013. She started working the front desk of the dental office that I worked at.
And what was that dental office? Where was it?
The name of the office was Sophie Dental, and it was in South Beach.
What did she do for the dental office?
She was the front desk and office manager for the office.
How often would you work in that office?
I was there, say, every 3 weeks. I was there for half a day every 3 weeks.
Was that office a big generator of income for you?
It was one of my better offices, yeah.
Now, you said you met her in July 2013. When did you first go out with her?
We first went out, it would have been first week of October, around October 10th.
And who initially pursued who?
I pursued her.
Why did you ask her out?
Katie was really cute. She was friendly. She went to the same. She actually graduated from UCF, also different time, but she graduated from there. She was a really smart girl. I mean, she was extremely smart and witty, and that's why I pursued her.
Once you went out with her, did you learn that she had 2 kids?
I did.
Now, initially, did you learn anything about her ex-husband?
No, the only thing I knew is that she'd been with somebody for about 10 years, and that she was now single.
After you dated her a couple times, what did you like about her?
Well, and aside from the initial things, what attracted me to her was she had a very busy life also, and my life was so busy it was hard for me to be in a relationship where someone wanted to go have dinner at 5 o'clock and hang out with me a couple days a week. So she was working full time, had 2 kids, so she was fine seeing me once or twice a week, and we both had very little time.
Now, you said that your first date was sometime in early October 2013.
Yeah, it wasn't even a real date. We just went and had dinner. There's a restaurant in the building, and we finished late. And I said, "You want to grab dinner?" And we ate at the building.
Did you ask her just 2 weeks later if she could find someone to kill Professor Markel?
No, not at all.
Did you have a Halloween party with her or go trick-or-treating with her, and after the party say, hey, do you know anyone who can take care of my ex-brother-in-law for me?
No, absolutely not.
Now, back to the relationship. Over time, did it become more serious?
Over time, in the beginning, it's always like you're just trying to see who each other is, and then as time went on, she wanted to get more serious. I'd say probably by the springtime, by probably around March, she started asking me.
Now, did you consider her to be your girlfriend, though?
She was my girlfriend, yeah.
Did you consider yourself to be exclusive?
After the first 3 months together, yeah, for sure.
Did you ever see a possibility of marriage with her?
No, I didn't.
During the time that you dated her, how often, and let's be clear, we're talking about now the beginning of 2014.
Right.
So let's keep it far away from July. During the time that you dated her, how often would you communicate with her?
We talked every day.
When would you talk to her?
I'd call her when I was in the car driving to work. We'd text throughout the day, and then I'd always talk to her at night time.
Where was she living at the time?
She was living in North Miami,
And again, you were living in the same place in Fort Lauderdale?
Same house in Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
How often would you see her?
I would see her once a week. Sometimes every once in a while it would be twice, but I would say more often once than twice.
And when you saw her, what would you typically do?
We'd go to dinner, hang out, watch a movie, hang out at my house.
Did you have any relationship with her children?
No, I met her children on one occasion, maybe twice, but definitely no more than twice.
Did she go to family events with you?
She did meet my family a couple times, yeah.
She met your sister how many times, if you recall?
2 times.
And how many times do you think she might have met your parents?
I would say probably maybe around 8 times, 8 or 9 times.
Was she a patient of your dad's?
Yes, she was.
We're going to get into this in more detail later, but let's be clear right now. Did Catherine Magbanua ever work for your dad or for you at the Adelson Institute?
No, never.
Now, I think you alluded to this a little bit earlier, but as time went on in 2014, did she want to be more serious?
Yeah.
And what did you think about that?
I liked the way it was. I mean, it was good in the beginning. My life, I wasn't looking to change it. I was still in that workaholic mode. But she started asking me, what are we? What are we doing?
At the time that you met her, and I want to talk a little bit about your knowledge of Sigfredo Garcia now. At the time that you met her, to your knowledge, she was single, right?
Yes.
And I think you testified that initially you didn't learn anything about her ex.
Nothing other than she was completely single. She was done with him.
I want to show you defense exhibit. It's not in evidence. I need a sticker. No, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked for identification purposes as Defense Exhibit 34. Please take a look at it. Are these text messages between you and Catherine Magbanoa on November 27th at 2:13?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I'd move in Defense Exhibit 34 at this time.
Response?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Please
of mind.
approach. As the hearsay is overruled, you may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kate, can you just email? These text messages, are they a true and correct reflection of your messages on November 27th, 2013?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I'd move in Exhibit 34 at this time.
Any further objection?
No, Your Honor.
They are admitted at this time.
May I publish?
You may.
Now, you see the timing is in military time, so it says November 27th at 13:42. We can agree that's 1:42.
Yes.
Katie says, my ex knows about you. I'm pretty sure I know how he knew because he even knows your name. You see that?
Yes, I do.
And you say, do I know him from my past? You see that?
Yes, I do.
What are you asking Katie here?
I have no idea who her ex is, and she's saying he knows me. So I'm saying, do I know him?
And that's in late November 2013, right?
Yes.
That's after 1 month almost, after Halloween, correct?
Yes.
Now, as time went on, did you learn more about her ex?
In the springtime, I did.
In February, was there an incident with Katie and her ex that you recall?
Yeah. I remember her coming over my house, and she was pretty upset. She had a mark on her neck. They'd gotten into an altercation, and he ripped a necklace that he'd given her off her neck. And she was crying, and she was all upset.
How did you react?
She could tell I was upset. I mean, someone just roughed her up, and she could tell I was upset. And she said, "Don't do anything." She goes, "He will kill you. He will kick your ass. You don't stand a chance."
Now, why did you continue to date her after this?
I didn't take that as a threat to me. I just took it as she's got a crazy ex-boyfriend that wants her back, and she's got 2 kids with him, and it wasn't a threat. I didn't feel like he was threatening me. She just was like, it's a part of her life that I wasn't going to hold against her.
I want to show you a couple other texts related to your relationship with Ms. Magbanawa in January, February, and March of 14. And these will be Defendant's Exhibits 35, 36, and 37. And I'll give a copy to the governor. I might have handed you one as well. You can hold on to your mic. The January text is 35. The February text is 36. And the March 24th text, do you have that one?
Yes,
Is 37.
I have March 15th.
That's a big one. There you go. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Just put it aside. That's 36. And that's 37. Can you take a look at these items? Do you recognize these text messages?
Yes, I do.
Are they accurate reflections of your text messages?
They are, yes.
I would move these exhibits into evidence now, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Hearsay, Your Honor, I'm storing it in a minute.
You can show me a copy of the exhibits.
Yes, Your Honor. Mayor Coach.
Reviewing the exhibits.
I have, Your Honor. My objection is hearsay.
Attorneys can briefly approach. Ruled as to hearsay, you may continue with your examination.
So let's talk about Defense Exhibit 35.
Sure.
Text from January 19, 2014. And in this exchange, what is Miss Magbanawa asking you about?
She asked me if I wanted things to be different, and she was saying how much she missed me.
And did you want things to be different at this point in time?
No, I wanted things to stay the way they were from when we just started dating.
Now, if you turn to Defense Exhibit 36, text messages from February 5th, 2014. What is she asking you? What does she start by asking you about? And you don't have to read it. Just tell the jury generally what she's asking you about. What is she concerned about?
She's asking if I'm talking to a bunch of other girls.
And what do you tell her in response generally?
I say, no, I'm not.
And again, in this text message, she's asking you whether she's telling you that she wants more, right?
Yeah.
And how do you respond?
I ask her, are you thinking about getting back with your ex?
And then what do you say after that?
Oh, yeah. I say, you're the coolest and most fun girl, that I'm always happy when I'm around. And then I said, I know it's not easy, and I think we're doing a good job at not rushing things. So,
And what were you trying to tell Miss Magbanawa in this text message?
I was trying to say, I like you and I have a good time hanging out with you, but I don't want to rush things.
Now, moving to text messages in March of 2014. Ms. Magbanawa texts you, you've mentioned me to your mom, and you say yes, and she says, I love you, aw baby. Why was this a big deal to her?
I guess when I'd spoken to her, I brought up that I'd mentioned her to my mom, and she thought I was making things more serious. So I think she got excited over that.
Okay, you can put those aside.
Judge, I'm going to object regarding Defense Exhibit 37 and ask for best evidence that it be published to the jury.
I'll sustain on best evidence grounds. Please publish Defense 37. Members of the jury are to reach your own conclusions as to the context of the statements.
Okay, let's publish it to the jury and see if it says what I said. March 24th at 12:17. You see she texts you and says, you've mentioned me to your mom?
Yes.
Do you see that you respond, yes?
Yes, I do.
Do you see that she responds, that made me so happy?
Yeah, she took it the wrong way.
Any other clarification, Your Honor? Is it fair to say that she was excited that you had mentioned her to your mom?
Yeah, she was happy. I mean, she got overly excited. I wasn't expecting that.
Now, In the early summer of 2014, what were you telling your friends about your relationship with Catherine Magbanua?
Objection, relevance?
Sustained. Please lay a foundation if you can.
Was your relationship coming to an end in the summer of 2014?
Yes, she wanted more, and I didn't want anything more.
And were you communicating that to friends?
Yes, I was.
I want to talk to you about a dinner on March 11th, 2014, a Yardbird dinner. One moment, Your Honor.
Take your time.
Do you recall going to that dinner?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember who was the dinner with?
I met Katie down in Miami on Lincoln Road, and my sister was in town, and I was already working down there. I remember I was in my scrubs, and my sister came and she brought the guy that she just started dating, who was Jeff Lacoste.
Do you recall where you sat?
Yeah, we sat outside the restaurant. There was a few tables set up on the sidewalk, and it was the four of us sitting there.
Did you know that you were being watched?
No, not at all.
Did you know that Sigfredo Garcia was thinking about killing you that night?
No, not at all.
Now, this is March 11th, 2014, right?
Yes.
During the dinner, do you recall discussions about ex-husbands between your sister and Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall who initiated those discussions?
No, I don't.
Do you recall making a bad joke again at that dinner?
Yes.
And that's the same joke that we've already discussed.
Yeah, I did.
Now, after the dinner, who came back to your house?
My sister and Jeff Lacoste came back to my house.
What about Catherine Magbanua?
No, she went home to be with her kids.
And was it a normal night when your sister and Jeff Lacoste came back?
Yeah, but it's the first time I've ever had, I think, my sister and her boyfriend sleep over my house. So, but it was normal.
Did you ever have any conversations other than some text messages that Jeff Lacoste sent you with him after that night?
No, I never spoke to him again.
Did you know anything about a first attempted murder of Professor Markel in early June?
No.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about birthdays and your dad's birthday and a birthday present. And you may remember some text messages that the state showed during their case regarding wanting to talk to your... Give me 1 second. Do you recall the state showing text messages where you're texting with your mom and she tells you that she can't talk right now, that she'll call you when she's alone, she's driving back and she's at a stop in Gainesville, and to erase the text message?
Yeah.
Do you recall what that is all about?
It was about my dad's birthday.
Who was your mom with at that stop at Gainesville?
She was with my dad, so she didn't want to talk in front of him
And why didn't she want to talk in front of him?
because it was a surprise. Originally, we were thinking about doing a cruise.
What was a surprise? That you were going to kill Professor Markel, or that you were going to have a surprise birthday party for your dad?
No, it was going to be his 70th birthday party.
And do you recall in that text message talking about a caterer?
Yes.
Now, you had discussed this caterer as far back as April and May with your mom, correct?
Yes.
And those are reflected in text messages as well, correct?
Yes, they are.
On June 5th, do you recall your mom texting you and asking you, don't forget to get information on the caterer?
Yes.
Now, what did you get your dad for his birthday gift?
I paid for the catering for the party.
And what type of catering was it?
It was a chef came to the party and they cooked paella and seafood, and then we had a bunch of desserts also and salads.
I'm showing you what's marked for identification purposes only as Defendant's Exhibit 43. I'm showing you what's marked as Defendant's Exhibit 43. And these are a composite of all of your text messages between June 2nd, 2014 and June 7th, 2014. May I approach, Your Honor?
Okay.
Can you look through this and see if this is an accurate reflection of all your text messages during that period?
Yes, they are.
Judge, I would move in Defense Exhibit 43 at this point in time.
I'm going to need to review the exhibit. State, do you have any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, hearsay and relevance.
Please bring me a copy of the exhibit. Members of the jury, the bailiff is going to take you back to the jury room. We will resume with the testimony momentarily. 12 minutes until 10:30. Mr. Adelson, if you need to step down and go back to council table, you're permitted to do so. Then let them know we're resuming. All right, I'm prepared to rule on the composite exhibit. As a composite, I am going to sustain the objections on the grounds of both hearsay and relevance, and also on 403 grounds, as it may create confusion of the issues themselves. If there are isolated portions that you wish to offer on grounds of relevance, that are relevant, I should say, and also you have a hearsay exception 4, I can reconsider that. Are there any statements that you wish to pull out of the composite and offer separately?
I'll stand on the record, Your Honor. I believe they all go to his state of mind, as I suggested to you, showing what he was thinking on these relevant time periods. And without seeing them in the collection, you don't see his state of mind. So I'll stay on the record, but you're taking away a defense of his, which is his state of mind, and the jury should be able to see that. I'll ask questions about it, but
You certainly can examine as to generally what was going on during the time period. Again, part of this as well goes to the subject matter, which we discussed at sidebar. I don't want the jury to take away from what could even possibly be relevant in the composite to then also make that a prejudicial aspect of the deliberation in any way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. We're happy to redact those sections, but if that would change your ruling, but.
Well, even with the redactions, I think we still have to get back into specifically the 403 aspect of it and also the hearsay. But the court's ruling is what it is concerning that matter. You may examine, though, concerning the subject generally of the messages.
Judge, just for the record, I planned on doing the same thing. Oh, I have it. Oh, maybe not. No. What date was it, July 14? Judge, I planned on doing the same thing for July 14 through 19. I won't do it, considering I assume it's the same ruling, but my same arguments apply to that.
Very well, Ms. Kappelman, do you have similar objections for the entire composite block of text messages?
Yes, sir.
All right, again, if there are portions that you wish to extract from the composite that you believe that are both relevant and are not hearsay, I will certainly consider those, but as a composite exhibit, I am going to find that they would otherwise be not relevant or hearsay or create 403 issues with confusion of the issues at trial.
Judge, I understand your ruling. May I
Go
make
ahead.
just one additional argument for the record?
Go ahead.
Just for the record. In the state's case in chief, they were allowed to put in phone calls showing arrows that they have no idea anything said on those calls. They're essentially the same thing as putting in text messages like this, except you actually see the content, right?
The chain of the traffic versus what is actually said.
They put in every call, okay? They put in every call between these participants on on those particular days, which, by the way, correspond mostly to the days that I'm offering these text messages for. They put them in for their own purposes. I think I should be allowed, under a 403 analysis, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, to put in the text messages, to show the pattern or lack of pattern of anything. And that's what these text messages show. But I can just ask the questions, but I would like the record to reflect that under a 403 analysis, it was allowed for them, it's not being allowed for us.
I wouldn't exactly say it boils down to being that simple, but your objection is noted, specifically as to what the state was permitted to demonstrate in their case in chief goes to either demonstrating motive or direct evidence of what they believe show the elements of the charges. As to these composite exhibits, and again, I don't want to get very deep into what the subject matter is, there are messages that either go to embarrassing of the other witnesses or litigants in this matter, matters that are wholly irrelevant, or matters that do not demonstrate in any way the theory of defense as the court understands it. If there are portions, again, that are specifically relevant to negating either the motive or any of the elements of the charges and are not hearsay, as argued by the defense, I will consider those separately, but as a composite on the whole, the 403 issues, the relevance, and hearsay issues, I believe, compel me to deny their admission.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's bring back in the jurors and we'll continue. The state's objection to the exhibit is sustained. You may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. You've had an opportunity to review your text messages from June 2nd to June 7th, 2014.
Yes, I have.
Anything in those text messages out of the ordinary?
No.
They're text messages about what types of subjects?
Work, personal life. just,
Anything about a first attempted murder in Tallahassee?
no, not at all.
Anything about any sort of violence?
No, not at all.
Anything about any sort of panic?
No, not at all.
I want to talk briefly about July 1, 2014. And just kind of to give you a roadmap, in March, you had dinner with your sister, correct?
Yes, at Yarborough.
And we've learned that at that dinner, Sigfredo Garcia thought about killing you.
Yeah, he was stalking me with Luis Rivera.
And we've learned through this trial that a first attempted murder on Professor Markel's life happened, give or take, 6 weeks later.
Yes.
Now let's talk about July 1, which is about 3 or 4 weeks after that. By the way, up until July 1, had you ever talked to, texted with, met Sigfredo Garcia?
No, not at all.
What happened on July 1?
July 1, I was going to take Katie jet skiing, and I had the jet ski attached to the car, and I drove to her place in Miami, and I went to pick her up, and I remember it so well. I got flowers right before I picked her up. I bought flowers from the guy selling them in the middle of the street, and I picked Katie up, and we started driving out of her complex, and we got about 200 feet, and this blue car comes flying out of nowhere, flies in front of us, and slams on the brakes. And I've got a car, and I'm towing a 1,200-pound jet ski behind it. And she started screaming, "That's T, that's T, that's T." And I'm like, I almost rear-ended this car. And this guy gets out of the car, and he comes over, and he's screaming every kind of four-letter word at me, threatening me. His face was real red. My windows were up. And the guy was going crazy. And, I'm kind of a little bit boxed in because the front of my car was almost against the rear of his car, so I couldn't drive past it. And I had a big jet ski and a trailer behind my car, so I ended up putting the car in reverse, doing like a little bit of a three-point turn, a little bit, swinging the car around. He then got in his car, chased alongside of us, and you can't, if you're towing a jet ski with a car, you can't go real fast. You don't have much acceleration. He was right alongside of us, rolled his window down, was screaming all this stuff at us. And when we got to the light, it was just turning yellow, and I gunned it. And I remember making a left-hand turn. And I said to Katie, I go, "That guy's fucking nuts." And she goes, "Nuts?" She goes, "He's really calmed down." And I go, "What do you mean he's calmed down?" And she goes, "The old T I know would have broken your window and dragged you out into the street and beaten your ass."
Now, that evening, by the way, let's talk about, you say T. Did you know Sigfredo Garcia under another nickname as well?
Yeah, well, she referred to him as T or Tuto.
Okay.
Or Sigfredo.
Now, that evening, did your father call you?
Yeah.
And what did your father say to you when he called you, Harvey? What did Harvey say to you when he called you?
He was worried about me
Why?
because he got a threatening message on his voicemail, and the guy was saying, something to the effect of, "Next time I see you, it's going to be mano a mano. Don't fuck with me. You don't know who I am," something like that, and then hung the phone up.
Okay. Again, this was July 1, correct?
Yeah.
And this is now 17 days before Professor Markel was murdered, correct?
It was.
So we have Sigfredo Garcia thinking about killing you in March before the first attempt, right?
Yeah.
And now we have him threatening you and trying to run you off the road just 17 days before the actual murder occurred, right?
Yes.
You're aware that the state's theory is that you are co-conspirators with Sigfredo Garcia?
Yeah, that's their theory.
Now let's go to July 5th. Your dad's birthday party. By the way, what was served at the birthday party?
We had the paella and the chef there cooking it.
Okay. And how many people approximately attended the party?
It was in their apartment. They probably had, I'd say, roughly about 30.
Okay. Did you invite Catherine McBanoa to the party?
No, I didn't.
The party was in their apartment, which was where?
It was in South Beach. It was in South Beach at the Continuum.
Now, what time did the party end?
It went from probably 7-ish to probably about 11:30, 12 o'clock.
How far is the Continuum in South Beach from your house in Fort Lauderdale?
It's every bit of 45 minutes, depending on traffic.
That evening, where did you sleep?
I slept over at Katie's house
Why did you sleep over at Katie's house?
because my brother was in town for my dad's 70th birthday party with his wife and their kids. And then my sister was in town, and then the whole family was doing stuff the next day, and it was going to be at my parents' house, at their apartment. So I didn't want to drive all the way back to Fort Lauderdale and then all the way back to Miami.
Does Katie live closer to South Beach than your home in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, she's probably 15 minutes away, 10 to 15 minutes.
And did you go back to your parents' apartment the next day on July 6th?
Yeah, I slept at Katie's place. It was one of only 2 times I probably ever slept there. And then I went back to my parents' place, like, for lunch the next day.
Did Katie come with you?
No, she did not.
Now, I want to draw your attention to June 16th and a late night work with your assistant Erica.
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
I do.
I know you're not going to know specific times, but how late did you work with Erica that evening?
We worked till about 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. And what did you do after work?
We'd worked through dinner, so we were both hungry. So me and Erica went to go eat dinner.
And what time did you get home, approximately?
I got home about 11:45.
When you got home, did you speak with Catherine McBanoa?
I did. We texted or I called her.
And during that conversation on the 16th, but it's really the morning of the 17th, I think, because midnight.
Yeah, it was after midnight.
What happened on that call?
Katie was questioning where I was and who I was with, and was saying it was suspicious because I think I ended up calling her probably about 12:30 that night because I came home, changed, took a shower, and then when I finally called her, it was like 12:30. So she thought I was cheating on her.
And was it a heated discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I worked hard all day. You know, I didn't do anything wrong. I went out to dinner with Erica, and like, she was just questioning on who I was with and what I was doing, and she was unhappy with me.
Towards the end of the discussion, what did you agree to do with Katie the next day?
I told her I actually my morning off is canceled. I don't start work until 1:45 tomorrow. I said, if you want, come up here and we'll grab lunch.
And did you have lunch with Miss McBanoa the next day?
Yes, I did.
What happened when you had lunch with Catherine McBanoa on the 17th?
She started all over again with like questioning me about the night before, and then she wanted to make plans with me to do dinner on Friday night, and she got very upset at me, and she was just like weirdly adamant, like, this Friday night I want to do dinner with you, Like, why are you saying you don't know? Like, you don't know you're fine to go do dinner with Erica and not call me till 12:30? And just didn't stop. And we got into a fight at lunch.
So let's take that a little bit slower. So you meet with her on the 17th, and on the 17th, your testimony is that she was adamant that she wanted to have dinner with you on the 18th. Is that right?
Yeah.
And where did she want to have dinner with you?
She wanted to make dinner plans and go down to Miami.
Was that odd?
I mean, it was Friday night. She was my girlfriend, so from that perspective, it wasn't odd. What was odd is that she was so adamant, and when I pushed back on it, there was no push. She was like, started questioning me even more.
Now, where were you going to work on the 18th?
I was working in Jupiter.
Okay. So we're in Tallahassee, so let's just make sure everyone knows where Jupiter is compared to Miami, where Catherine McBanaway lives, where she wanted you to have dinner. How far is Jupiter from Miami?
I would say with no traffic, it's probably 2 hours and 15 minutes, maybe 2:30.
And so, and I might have said the wrong month. We're in July. It's July, not June. July 17th, correct?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. So, why did you want to go all the way back down to Miami, and what did you tell Catherine McBanaway?
Telling Katie I'm going to be in the car for at least an hour and a half driving up to Jupiter. My back kills me when I'm in the car for that long. I got to drive back another hour and a half home. I got 2 offices I'm working in. I got 10 hours of surgery I'm doing. I'm like, I don't even know what time I'm getting out. And she was just like, oh, so it's just going to be another late night and you don't want to see your girlfriend on a Friday night?
And how did the lunch end?
I told her that, I said, you're acting like a bitch. I didn't call her a bitch, but I said she was acting like a bitch.
And did you leave the restaurant?
Yeah, we had some words, and I put some money down on the table, and we both walked out. And I'm like, I got to get to work. I can't deal with this now.
Did you contact her, or did she try to contact you during the day of the 17th, July 17th?
She called me while I was at work around 6:30, but I was still working, and I didn't pick up the call.
When did you speak to her again?
I was pretty pissed at her, so I didn't call her until after 12 that night. After I came home, I went to the gym, took a shower. I called her after 12.
And when you called her after 12 that evening, did you apologize?
We eventually smooth things over a little bit. Like, I felt bad for saying that to her, and she was still mad at me and still wanting to see me. So I did smooth things over, but not entirely.
Now, the next day you have several text communications with Miss Judge, may we briefly approach?
Approach.
Can I continue, Your Honor?
You may.
That day, now we're on the 18th, July 18th. Did you speak with your sister that morning?
I did.
What do you recall talking to your sister about?
I called her in the car on the way up to work, and I ended up talking to her. She's told me that she was having the TV set repaired. I thought she had told me that Lincoln had thrown something at it and broke the screen. So she was getting a TV fixed. And then I was also, the reason I called her was because I was in a fight with Katie and I wanted to get her opinion on something. So I spoke to her and told her what I said to Katie, and she gave me sisterly advice like she usually does.
And again, that morning, you're in the car for quite some time?
About an hour and a half.
Where were you were working at one or two offices that day?
I was working in two offices, but they're across the street from each other in Jupiter.
Okay. And during the call up to Jupiter, did you make several phone calls?
Yeah, that's my morning routine, and I was in the car for an hour and a half, so I was on the phone a bunch.
Now, there's several times where there is a phone call made, and then immediately after there's another call, and they're short calls, and then immediately after there's another call. Do you know why that was the case?
Yeah, because there's a stretch of highway between West Palm and up in Jupiter where you'll get drop calls constantly. So you'll call somebody, and then you can't hear the person, or it doesn't go through, and then you start talking, and you hang up and call them again. So the calls drop constantly up there.
Okay. Do you recall having some text message communication with a friend named Mike and also Catherine McBanawa about dinner that night?
Yes, I do.
And without getting into too many specifics, what was the general issue?
Mike had wanted me to get dinner with him because his house is kind of close to Jupiter, and sometimes when I'm up that way, I'll see him. Katie was still upset about the other day and feeling like I give more time to other people and questioning why it's a Friday night and I don't want to spend it with her. I eventually just texted with Katie and I apologized for calling her a bitch and telling her I said she was acting like one. I didn't call her one, but evidently to some people there is no difference, and I shouldn't have said it. So I ended up apologizing and making dinner plans with her.
So you chose to make dinner plans with Katie that night, correct?
Yeah.
And where the dinner plans were going to actually happen, did you get that far in making specific plans?
No, but I said I just want to do something casual in Fort Lauderdale. I don't want to get all dressed up and head to Miami.
Okay. Now, the second office you're working in for a little period of time, right? That evening.
Right.
In other words, let me rephrase.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of surgeries in that second office, right?
Yeah, they're usually packed.
And do you recall from a text message that around a little after 6, you were about to start a big procedure?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, you hear from your mom. How do you hear from your mom?
I had a missed call from her, one or two missed calls, and then she texted me, "Call us ASAP."
And why did you miss the calls? What were you doing?
I was in surgery.
Okay. After she texted you, call her ASAP, what did you do?
I stopped what I was doing. I could see the text messages on the phone as they come in, so I knew it was important. I stopped what I was doing, and I called her right back.
When you called her back, what did she tell you?
She told me that Wendy had just called her, and that Dan had been shot, and that it was serious, and that her and my dad are going to be going up to Tallahassee to be with her.
How did you react?
I was shocked. I said, "Is he okay? Is he going to be okay? Are the boys okay? Or Wendy's okay? Like what happened?"
And what did your mom tell you?
She said she didn't know any details, that it was really serious, and that Wendy's with the police right now, and they're questioning her.
Now, after you got off the phone with your mom, what did you do?
I went back to work.
And did you have some communications with people after that through text messages about how you were feeling?
I did.
And generally speaking, how were you feeling?
I wasn't feeling great. I was pretty upset about what I just heard.
Now, around what time, if you remember, did you leave the office?
Probably about between 8:20 and 8:30.
Okay. And again, it's a pretty far drive, correct? Even
Yeah.
at that time of night.
Yeah, there's no traffic at that time, so I could speed a little bit. But
On your car ride home, did you make phone calls?
yes, I did.
And in particular, and we'll do it one at a time, did you speak with Catherine Magbanawa?
Yes, I did.
And what did you tell Catherine Magbanawa on your ride home?
I told her that my brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, had been shot, and it's serious. And I just told her I really didn't feel like going out tonight, and just hang out at the house if you still want to come over. She said, "No, I definitely. I'm still coming to see you."
How did she seem?
Seemed normal. I mean, she seemed concerned, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Now, are you aware that after that phone call, Catherine Magbanawa had to frantically go around and try to get a babysitter for her kids?
No, not at all.
Now, did you speak with your mom on the way home to your house?
Yeah, like I called my parents also from the car.
And what did you find out from your parents?
That they were getting ready to leave, and that they were heading up to they were going to head up to Tallahassee, and that they were going to probably stop up in Orlando because it's late, and they wouldn't get up there till. So they're going to spend the night in Orlando and then go up to Tallahassee.
Now, you've seen text messages in this case where there's some indication your mom says outside your house, and 20 minutes later, after that text message, you say 10 minutes. Do you recall those text messages?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you see your parents that evening?
No, not at all.
Okay. When your mom says outside your house, does that mean to you that she was actually at your house?
No, it meant that she was passing by my house outside it on the vicinity, seeing if I was home.
On the phone call that you had with your mom on the way home, did you discuss anything about your parents stopping at your house?
Yeah, I said, text me when you're close. If I'm home, stop by and see me, because my house is a football field length away from the exit of the turnpike.
And when they were close, were you anywhere near your house?
No, and I missed their text. I didn't get home for 40 minutes after that text came through.
When you got home, what did you do?
When I got home, I changed, took a shower. Changed, and I played phone tag with Katie to see where she was at. I think I talked to her after I got out of the shower, and she was going to be heading over to hang out with me.
You have a text with your friend Mike that said you went to the gym. Do you have a gym? Did you go to the gym?
No.
Okay. Do you know if you worked out in your house that night?
I don't know if I've got some workout equipment in our house, so I may very well have, but I didn't go to the gym that night.
Your friend Mike wanted to have dinner with you that night, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you get to the house, you said you called Katie after your shower. Why did you call her?
To see if she was still planning on coming over and what time she was going to be there, because it was already like 10:15.
And did she come to your house that night?
Yeah, she said she was going to be leaving shortly, and I think I even said either text me or call me when you're on your way.
Did she actually come to your house that evening?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Around what time did she arrive?
She got there about 11 o'clock.
What happened when she arrived?
When she arrived to my house, she came in through the garage, entered into the kitchen from the side door like she always does, and she just looked panicked and upset. I mean, she walked straight in and gives me this big, tight hug and asked me, like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, just a horrible day." But she looked more upset than I've ever seen her. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Just come sit down. I need to talk to you."
Where did you go?
We walked into the living room.
And what happened when you got to the living room?
We sat down on the couch, and she started to talk to me. And she said, "Listen, this is all my fault, but I had no idea anything was going to happen, but this is totally my fault. I spoke in too much detail about your family's personal problems, about your sister, Dan Markel, and the $1 million offer."
What did you say?
I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "My friend killed Dan, and he wants to be paid $1/3 of $1 million."
How did you react?
I was like, "What did you just say?" And she's like, "My friend killed Dan, and he wants you to pay $1/3 of $1 million."
What happened next?
I stood up, and I started cursing it. I'm like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding me?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, who did this? Who's your friend that did this?" And she's like, "I don't want to say. I can't say." And I said, who was it? And she just kept saying, "I'm not going to tell you." And I was like, was it Sigfredo? And she's like, "No, I'm not telling you." And I just walked in my bedroom and sat down on the edge of my bed.
What happened when you got in the bedroom?
She came into the bedroom, followed after me. She sat down next to me. She started telling me, like, "I'm so sorry. This is all my fault, but I didn't know any of this was going to happen." And I'm like, "Katie, I'm not going to be part of this shit. Like, I'm not going to be part of paying for a murder. This is insane." And she's like, "Look, if you don't pay in 48 hours, they will kill you." And I said, "Katie, I feel like I'm getting extorted now."
How did she respond to that?
She got really mad at me. She got angry, and she's like, "Look, I'm not extorting you." She's like, "I got dragged into this the same way you got dragged into this." She's like, "It's my fault for running my mouth the way I did, but I'm not extorting you. Like, I'm trying to help you." So she's like, she goes, "What are you going to do? You're going to go to the police?" She goes, "You go to the police, they'll kill you."
Did she tell you that they would just kill you, or they would also kill other people?
She said, "He'd come after you. He'd come after the family. Like, Charlie, you don't have a choice. Just pay the money. You said you had the cash. You said you were going to pay a third. Like, just do it. Like, I'm trying to help you out."
What did you do then?
I said, "Katie, I don't have $1/3 in cash." And she's like, "You said you did." And I was like, "No, I cash isn't. I can write a check for $1/3. I don't need to take out a loan." And she's like, "Well, you have a ton of money in your safe." And I said, "Katie, I don't have that much in my safe. I do have a lot." And I said, "Come, take a look." And I walked over to my safe. I opened it up, and I'm like, "Here, take a look." And I took it out in piles and put it on the dresser next to us. And I said, "Go ahead and count. That's not $1/3
And did she count it?
Yes, she did.
How much money did she count?
138,000.
So it wasn't 100,000, it was 138,000.
Correct.
What did she do with $138,000?
She had a big purse. She put it in her purse. And she asked me, she goes, how can you get the rest?" And I'm like, "Katie, that's all the cash I've saved up from forever." And she said, "Can you go to your parents and get it?" And I was like, "If I go to my parents, my dad will go to the cops in a second. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to stop my dad from going to the police. Like, I could never say anything to him."
What happened next?
She asked me, she said, "Well, can you can you pay like $3,000 a month? And I said, yeah, I can do that.
Now, at this point in time, did you have any idea that she was part of the extortion?
No, she kept saying it was all her fault and that she didn't know any of this was going to happen. And she was upset.
What did she do next?
She took her purse, her keys, and her phone, and she's like, "I'm going to go call my friend and see if this works for him, and I'm going to try to help you out." And she walked out of the house, and my bedroom was right next to the front door. She walked out of my bedroom outside of the front door and closed the door behind her.
When she went out of the house, what did you do?
I just paced around my house, and I remember sitting in the living room. I got a wood coffee table, and I was just sitting on the coffee table just in shock, thinking, what the fuck just happened?
What happened when she came back in the house?
She came in the house, and she was being the good guy and telling me that she's going to look out after me, and she's so sorry this happened. It's the same thing she was saying beforehand, and that she was going to make sure that nobody pays me a visit. And she's like, I spoke to him. You can pay $3,000 a month, or you can pay the rest off. She goes, but the $3,000 a month you're paying doesn't go towards the balance.
What did you do after she told you that?
I just said fine, and I walked downstairs into the kitchen, and I was shaking, and I took a bar of Xanax,
Where did you go?
and I walked outside from the kitchen through the sliders into the backyard. I closed the sliding glass door behind me. I think she got the picture. I wanted to be alone. And I just sat outside behind my house for a while.
Now, when you came back into the house, what was she like?
She was just apologizing and just telling me that her friend's crazy and she's so sorry, and she ran her mouth too much about everything and about the $1 million offer. And she was telling me that she was going to protect me.
Did she take a Xanax as well?
I don't know if she did. She may have, but I didn't give her one.
Did she spend the night that night?
She did sleep over that night.
Now, why didn't you kick her out?
I was in the state of shock, and I didn't think she had anything to do with it. I didn't even want to believe that she had anything to do with it.
When you came back in the house, what happened to you next?
The Xanax was really starting to set in. It's probably about a half hour I was outside. I remember going into the bedroom and sitting down. I sent the text to my parents to see if they were up in Orlando yet or where they were. And then I laid down in bed, and I passed out pretty soon after that.
The next morning, when did she leave?
She left about 8:30 in the morning.
And how was she in the morning? How was she acting?
She was apologizing and telling me how sorry she is, and she was blaming herself and saying it's all my fault for running my mouth, and telling my friend about this. And she was just telling me that she was going to protect me and that I wasn't going to get a visit from anybody.
What did she tell you anything in particular before she left the house?
Yeah, she told me, whatever you do, she said, please don't tell anybody about what happened. Like, don't tell anybody about this. Never talk about this. Never talk about it on the phone. She said, never call me up and start talking about this. And the last thing she said to me is like, can we just pretend like this never even happened?
She leaves the house, and we're going to get into specifics, but that day, July 19th, where do you go?
I don't leave the house. I was home all day.
What were you thinking and what were you doing when you were home on the 19th?
I was sleeping a bunch. I think I took probably some more Xanax, just trying to relax, and I was just real upset.
That morning, did you speak with your parents and with Wendy Adelson?
I did. I talked to my parents that morning.
And what did you find out?
I found out that Dan had died.
And why did you call Wendy Adelson?
Because that was the first call I called after my parents told me that, to see how she was, see how the boys were.
Now, you're home alone the entire day of the 19th. Did you think about going to the police?
I thought about it, but I thought I'm going to get killed if I go to the police. It's not going to bring Dan back. It just seemed like a bad idea.
Over the days following, did you continue to go back and forth about whether to go to the police or not?
Every time I thought about it, I thought through what could happen to me, what would be the benefit versus the pros versus the cons.
And why didn't you go to the police?
I thought if I went to the police that they'd kill me.
Now, there are some text messages into evidence on the 19th. Text messages between you and Catherine Magbanawa. I think there's 3 of them. Do you recall those text messages?
Yeah, we texted during the day.
And there are text messages about the weather and pool and Catherine Magbanawa going to the pool. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
What are those text messages about?
I was trying to show her that I was trying to pretend like this didn't even happen. Like, I think one of the texts said I'm going to the gym. I didn't go to the gym that day. My phone will show I never left my house.
Now, you say that she said that you could pay all at once or you could pay $3,000 a month. That's what her friend would accept, right?
Yes.
Did you think about paying it all at once?
I thought about it. I thought, if I'll do it and it'll get these people out of my life forever. But then I thought, this is extortion. One thing I know about extortion is it never ends. So if I paid it all at once, I thought that may be more of a reason that they come kill me. Or if I pay it all off, they're going to come back and ask for more money.
In the days following the extortion, did your sleeping habits change?
Yes.
What did you start doing?
I slept with a gun in my nightstand ever since then. And then I started carrying my gun on me also.
I'm showing you it's marked for identification purposes only as Defendant's Exhibit 51 and Defendant's Exhibit 52. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay.
Take a look at those. Do you recognize those items?
I do.
Judge, I would move Defendant's Exhibit 51 and 52. Well, before I move in 52. The 52 are some text messages. Are those text messages that you recognize that you kept in your ordinary course of dealings with text messages?
Yes, they are.
I would move in at this time 51 and 52.
Any objection from the state?
I have not reviewed the exhibit.
Please let Ms. Keppelman look at 51 and 52.
No objection, Your Honor.
Defense 51 and 52 are admitted at this time.
Now, on within 11 days after your extortion, did you do anything in particular to your house and to the Adelson Institute?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
A few days after it happened, I called up a camera guy, and I got a whole set of cameras installed at my house and in my office, and in my office, like pointing out to the parking lot also.
Judge, may I publish?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked as Let me show you the original. I'm showing you what's marked as Defendant's Exhibit 51. Is this a check for the cameras?
Yes, it is.
And how much did you pay for the camera system?
I paid $2,140.
And what date was the check made out for?
7/30/2014.
And in the memo line, what does it say?
It says camera.
I'm showing you some text messages from a couple days earlier. And these are text messages between you and your parents, and you and camera Adriel. Who's camera Adriel?
Adriel is the name of the guy who installed the cameras, so I just put his name in my phone as camera, so it's easy to look up. Camera Adriel.
And here are you indicating that you put cameras in your house as well as the Adelson Institute?
Yeah, that's why there's 2 DVRs. There was one for the house and there was one for the office, and it's 23 cameras in total.
Why did you think it was so important to put all of a sudden a camera system on?
It was I was worried about my safety. I fully expected these people to come back and possibly try to kill me. So I just wanted to beef up my security system in the house and the office.
Okay, I want to switch gears a teeny bit. What was your sister like in the weeks following the murder?
She was a wreck. I mean, she looked horrible. She didn't leave the house. She wasn't eating.
Before we go into that subject, I want to bring up one other thing about the cameras. Are there text messages earlier in the year where your parents are asking you to put up cameras at the Adelson Institute?
We talked about it, and I actually had a camera system at my house, but it was older and it was antiquated, and it didn't work really good. It was from like 2008, so the technology was 6-7 years old.
Those text messages earlier in the year to put up a camera system at the office, had you ever acted upon that?
No, we talked about it, but I never got around to it.
It's not until within a week or so after you're extorted that you act upon that, correct?
Yeah, I called the camera guy about 3 or 4 days after I got extorted, and then it took him like a week to get the cameras and to set up an appointment to install it.
Let me ask you another question. And we're going to get to your mom learning what happened. But before we get there, after you were extorted, did you tell anyone about what happened to you?
No, I told nobody.
Why not?
Katie told me before she left my house that morning, she's like, you cannot talk to anybody about this. Don't ever talk about this with anyone. Don't ever talk on the phone about it. Don't even talk to me about this ever again. Like, nobody can find out, but I'm going to protect you.
Let's get back to Wendy.
Okay.
So, I think you said Wendy was a mess.
Yeah.
Did there come a time when you went out to dinner with your sister?
Yes.
And how long after the murder was that?
I'd say it was about 2 weeks after. Maybe even a hair more, but around about 2 weeks.
And what happened when you went out to dinner with her?
I picked her up. I said, what do you feel like getting? You want to get pizza? You want to get sushi? And she's like, I love sushi. So I said, all right, I'll take you to this. I'll take you to a really good place for sushi.
Where did you go?
We went to a restaurant called Juvia, and it's actually a pretty fancy sushi place.
What happened during the dinner?
She got really sick. When we got to the restaurant, we didn't have a reservation or anything. They sat us at the bar. they served us a drink at the bar, and it was really it was one of those like martinis that have like 3 shots in them, so they're strong. And then we sat at the dinner table.
Were you drinking and celebrating the death of Professor Markel?
Absolutely not. We sat at the bar waiting for a table for an hour, and then when we sat at the table, we each had 1 drink.
Now, I want to move on to August. Well, before we get there, sorry. In July, did you break up with Catherine Magbanua?
Yes.
How did you break up with her?
This happened on a Friday night, and I'd say within a week, I met her. I said, "Come, let's have dinner," and we went out for tacos. And I said, like, we can't do this anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship with you.
How did she react?
I think she knew it was coming. I mean, there was no surprise on her part.
Now, in August, did you see her?
I saw her 1 time in August.
Why did you see her in August?
I saw her 1 time in August to pay her $3,000 for her friend.
When you paid her the money in August, how did you pay her?
I paid her $3,000 in cash.
And at this point in time, did you know that she was actually part of the extortion?
No, I thought she was not part of it. I was a little suspicious, but she just kept telling me that how sorry she was, and she was adamant that she had nothing to do with it and didn't know this was going to happen.
When you gave her the cash in August, did she make any request of you?
Yes, she did.
What request did she make?
She said, look, none of this money's going to her. She's giving all the money to her friend. She said, can you do me a favor? I need to get health insurance for my kids. Like, I'm helping you out. Nobody's going to ever pay you a visit. Can you give me $2,000 in cash for my friend and write me a check for $1,000 every month? And that way, she said she'll cash it, give the money to her friend, and then that way she can get health insurance for her kids.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit. She says to you she needs health insurance for her kids,
Mm-hmm.
and she says to you, I'm getting none of the money at all.
Yeah, she said none of this is going to her.
But it would really help me if $1,000 of the $3,000 can be in the form of being on the books of your business, essentially. Yes. And did you say to her, Catherine, we just did a murder. I can't put you on the books of the business because that creates a paper trail.
No, we didn't just do a murder. I just got extorted.
Now, what did you say to her when she made you that request?
I said, I'll do it for you. No problem. I mean, I wanted to keep her happy.
Now, before you did that for her, what did you have to do?
I had to call my mom because she does the books at the office. I don't even have the checkbook. And I called her up and I said, I want to put Katie on payroll at the office for $1,000 a month.
When you called your mom, what did she say to you?
She said, was Katie going to be coming into the office? Is she going to start working for us? And I said, no, she's not. And then she's like, well, what's Katie going to be doing? And I go, oh, she's just going to be helping me out with some stuff and different things. It's a long story. And I think my mom was someplace when I was talking to her on her cell phone because she didn't question me much after that.
Did you make any special requests to your mom about how the checks would be made?
Yes, I did.
What was your request to your mom?
I said, put them as like, give me like 4 or 5 checks at a time because I just want to hand them to her like that. So I said, write me a bundle of checks at a time.
Why did you want your mom to give you a bundle of checks at a time?
Because I only planned on seeing her 1 time a month, and that was to make the extortion payment. So I figured if I gave her 4 or 5 checks each time, that's all I planned on seeing her.
Now, sometimes did you give her less than 4 or 5 checks at a time?
Not that I can recall.
Now, did there come a time when you went to go pick up the checks from your mom?
Yes.
And where did you go to pick up the checks?
I went to my parents' apartment.
And who was there when you came to pick up the checks?
My mom was there, and I don't think my dad was there at the time. He wasn't there at that time.
Was he there or
No,
wasn't he
she
there?
was alone. There was no one else there.
Now, when you went to go pick up the checks, what happened and what do you remember?
I remember walking in, and saying hi to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, the checks are over there on the counter like you asked for." And I saw there was a white envelope and there was a stack of checks sitting there. And she said, "What's Katie doing for you?" And I thought we'd already addressed it, but she's working at the office, and I'm like, "No, I told you she's not." She's like, "Well, $1,000 a month is a lot of money to pay somebody." And she's like, "What exactly is she doing for you?" And I said, it's a long story. And then she said, "Well, I'm your mom, like, tell me. Like, don't just tell me it's a long story." So this time she was like, and I was face to face with her, and she was more persistent in asking me, what the heck's going on? Are you still dating her? And I'm like, "No, we're definitely not dating anymore." She's like, "Well, why are you giving her $1,000 a month? This makes no sense."
What happened next?
I told my mom, I wanted to tell somebody, because if I get killed, at least somebody will know where to look or what it could have been about. So I wanted my mom to know what happened, but I also didn't want her saying anything to anybody. So I told my mom, I said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you something, but I never want to talk about it again. I never want you to talk to me about it on the phone. Don't talk about it anywhere. And please, whatever you do not say anything to Dad. Do not say anything to Wendy. Do not try to make me go to the police, because I'm not going. You got to promise me all that, and then I'll tell you."
And what did you tell your mom?
I told her that the night of the 18th, I got extorted for $250,000.
How did your mom react?
She flipped out. She's like, what do you mean? Like, what is this about? Like, you know who killed Dan?"
What did she want to do?
She wanted to go to the police.
And what did you tell her?
I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "It's not going to bring Dan back. I go, you're just going to end up getting me killed, or they'll come after somebody in the family."
What was agreed upon between you and your mom that evening?
That she was never going to say anything to anybody.
How about to your dad?
That, not my dad, not my sister.
Why were you so persistent with your mom that she couldn't tell your dad or your sister?
Because I thought they'd go to the police. I didn't think there'd be any way to stop them. These people told me, I was told the night of the extortion, you got 48 hours to pay up or you're going to get killed. These people were not messing around.
Now, your mom gives you the checks, the first set of checks,
Yes,
that day?
yes.
And do you remember what month that was?
That was in September.
After she gave you those checks, would you periodically have to meet with your mom and get more checks?
Yeah, but not. I didn't even realize the staff got paid bi-weekly, so they got their checks every 2 weeks. So when I'd asked her for 4 or 5 checks, I was thinking like that would be good for the month. I didn't realize that was going to be like, 8-10 weeks.
Did your mom bring this subject up again?
She would ask me, "Are you okay?" She asked me, "Do you need anything?" She also said, "Do you need money?" I'm like, "No, I don't want you guys getting involved. It's bad enough that I'm involved in this."
For the next 20 months, what did you do with regards to money and Catherine Magbanua?
Every single month, when I met her, I gave her $2,000 and the stack of checks to carry her forward.
And again, what did you think she was doing with those checks?
I thought she was cashing the checks and giving the $3,000 to her friend.
Now, we've heard a lot about gifts. We've heard about Lexus with 160,000 miles. We've heard about plane tickets. We've heard about, I guess, breast augmentation, but let's put that aside because I think that's a different category. We've heard about a whole host of gifts regarding, over the next 20 months, you giving a bunch of gifts to Catherine Magbanua. You recall that testimony in this courtroom?
Yes, I do.
The gifts that you gave to Catherine Magbanua, was that part of the extortion? Were those extortion payments?
No, not at all.
What were the gifts?
The gifts were me trying to keep Katie happy. And I didn't think Katie was any part of this extortion at all because she was constantly broke. I mean, she'd be hitting me up for $300. I mean, there's no way that she was getting that $3,000 and then asking me for $300 or running short on this or running short on that or can't pay a car bill.
So I want to make sure that we're crystal clear here. The fact that she was always saying she was broke, did that make you more certain or less certain that she was not part of the extortion?
It made me more certain that there's no way that she's involved. I mean, she's telling the truth. The extortion never went up. I mean, she could have just raised the extortion payment instead of having to ask me for money. Every time she was asking me for money, I actually felt good. I felt like she wasn't part of it.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Take your time.
Showing you Defendant's Exhibit 56 and 57 for identification purposes only. Do you recognize these text messages?
I do.
One of those text messages from December 2nd, 2014,
Yes, it is.
and is one of them from November 25, 2015.
Yes, it is.
Are these text messages, do you recognize them as being kept in your ordinary course of business?
Yeah, there was text messages from my phone.
Judge, I would move in these exhibits at this point in time.
Any objection?
No objection.
They are admitted at this time. Defense 56 and 57, I believe.
Yes. May I publish, Your Honor?
You may.
The first message is from December 2nd, 2014, Defendant's Exhibit 56. And Katie is, oh boy.
Just wait for it to refocus.
Go away. Do it a different way.
Okay.
I'm going to have to make everyone sick. Do you recall her asking for a favor that she needs to borrow from you in December of 2014?
Yes.
Do you recall in November of 2015, she's talking about how she's embarrassed because her credit card was declined?
That old Navy said, yeah.
Now, as time went on, let me back up. After the extortion, you break up with her
Yes.
and you see her only once a month or so.
It was once a month, except for the occasion of maybe there was one other time, 1 or 2 times.
Now, your communications with her in August and September, and maybe the first part to most of October of 14, through text messaging, do they dwindle, stay the same, or go up?
No, I was trying to have limited contact with her.
And as time goes on, however, what happens to your relationship?
I become more sure that she's not part of the extortion at all. And it really what I was going by is how broke she was. There's no way she got all this money and she's so broke and she's still working and we became friendly again. You know, our relationship was very different, but it was different but stronger because I needed her for my safety.
Okay. And so you've seen some of the emails, and I'm sure the state will show you a bunch of these emails in cross-examination where it's clear in the emails that you're learning a lot about each other, you're texting each other somewhat, you're talking as if you're friends.
We were friends. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. That ended. But she was protecting me.
Now, during this entire period of time before the bump, we're not at the bump yet. During this entire period of time, did she ever tell you who was extorting you?
No,
Did you have a pretty good idea of who it was, though?
I did. I absolutely did.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Move topics now. Before we get to the bump, yesterday we heard a call, which is SX130, where your mom and you are showing your love for Wendy's boyfriend, who she doesn't love, Dave. Do you recall that?
Dave, yeah.
Was your mom involved in Wendy's life?
Yeah, she was involved, but I mean, she cared a lot about her. I mean, she was her mom.
Now, during that call, you talk about how Professor Markel's death was a tragedy. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Did you have any idea at that point in time that you were being listened to by the police?
No idea. I was driving home and I was in the car for a long time, so I was just talking to my mom about everything.
Now, during that call, there is some discussion about Wendy winning the lottery. If you look at the context of the call in its entirety, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to meeting Dave. Dave was a one-of-a-kind catch guy that I liked him a lot. I guess I liked him more than my sister did. But he was a great catch. He was super successful. He used to work for a government agency. Sold his company for a tremendous amount of money. But most importantly, like, he really loved my sister. He really loved my nephews who don't have a dad anymore. And I mean, I even on that call, I was talking about like a 6-year-old farting on his head. I was over there, the kid was farting on his head, and he laughed, and it didn't bother him. So I thought he was a great guy. And he actually even met the Markels Dan's parents once with my sister when they were visiting the boys. I mean, he was just a great guy, and it was my sister's birthday. That's why there was so much chatter caught about Dave, because I don't think she was inviting him or something. So that's why he became a topic of conversation. And The Wire was from April, and my sister's birthday's in April. So those are probably the most amount of Dave calls I've ever had in my life, but the FBI captured a bunch of Dave calls.
By the way, I saw you get a little emotional there. Do you love your nephews?
Of course.
Would you ever take their father away from them?
No, never. Never in a million years.
Judge, may we approach just briefly?
You may. For the jury, we're going to take our lunch break at this point this morning. Once again, you're going to receive the same instruction that you've gotten since jury selection. Do not discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Do not seek out any news coverage or any information pertaining to the case. We will resume with the testimony of Mr. Adelson at 1:30. Please report back by 1:20. Everyone can be seated. Mr. Rauschbaum, you may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Charlie. You're aware of something called the bump, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you're aware that as a result of the bump, a whole host of calls happen after it, correct?
Yes.
Judge, I promise not to play every call, but we're going to play some. So at this point in time, permission to publish already in evidence, State Exhibit A.
Please proceed. Everyone can be seated. Members of the jury, we're going to test the speaker first to determine whether you can clearly hear the audio coming out of the speaker. If you can clearly hear the audio, please give a thumbs up. If not, you'll have the option of putting back on your headsets. I believe where is their audio ability to change their volume levels? Okay. Does everyone understand how to operate the volume switch? Please test away, Mr. Rauschbaum.
Test it first.
So, it's a time tonight after work or some other fun in the very near future, I'm committed to be with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Just tell her write a letter to you or something?
Okay.
Okay, everyone's good? All right, so we're not going to do the screen, because that's just causing for more problems. All right.
Continue at your own peril, but you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Charlie, I'm going to play for you call A. This is a call on April 19th, 2016, 2:09 p.m. It's the first call with your mom after the bump, okay?
So, it's a time tonight after work or some other fun in the very near future, I'm committed to be with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Just tell her write a letter to you or something?
I have some paperwork. Hand delivery.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was. I'm going to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay, so, maybe, I'll have to figure out something. Control it, will be wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Oakland Park Boulevard. So I'm right now in the Skyline Chili, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
They're going to finish the piano lesson around 4-ish, and the traffic will be, and they take a ride with them
Did Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's, I can't, is it the IRS or?
You know, the IRS people, they kind of bother you sometimes, but fortunately not me.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm gonna drive up that way,
Alright.
okay? And,
Does Wendy know that? Is it involved
no,
Wendy?
no. So let me just talk to you later, and,
Nothing, what is it? Is it a house okay?
yeah,
Alright. Does it involve me or other people?
well, probably both of them.
What's that?
Probably the two of them. So we probably have a general idea what we're talking about.
Alright.
So let's just find some time to talk to each other and get the boys for a ride, okay?
You're gonna take the boys up there?
Home, if you can get this for about 7, you can get it.
So it's harder to talk to me today.
Me or, tomorrow,
Alright. Well, I'll be up at Miss Klein's office. You wanna come up? Oh, yeah, so really late.
I'm just concerned that I can just have to get up there and get back in time for Wendy to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little earlier, but not for this. I mean, I
Can I ask you a question? Who's the paperwork transfer?
I see them, that's great. I mean, I can make hands with hands and I was really good with them today.
And he was it rank, was it anonymous or?
No, oh no, not anonymous. Not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it on this phone.
Right, whatever it is, it is.
No.
I'm silly, but, if you
I
want.
wouldn't bother you, trust me.
Yeah, no, I know. You want me to come down to see you tomorrow? I actually have the day off.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually starts later tomorrow. You know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So,
So whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the IRS, but I
I
will.
just would like you to review it and give me some input as to what your thoughts are. Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 is good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12, he starts at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
Alright, I'll come down in the afternoon, that way I can hang out with you and see this, you know.
That would be great.
Perfect, alright, I'll talk to you later.
Love you coming by.
Okay.
Charlie, where are you when this call happens?
I'm at Skyline Chili, eating a bowl of chili.
Your mom says that she had some paperwork delivered to her. Do you have any clue what she's talking about?
I have no clue what she's talking about.
What do you guess?
I thought it was the IRS.
What else do you guess?
Is everyone's health okay?
Do you think it has anything to do with either your extortion or Professor Markel's murder at this point in time?
No, not at all.
Why are you asking so many questions?
My mom, I know my mom my whole life. She's talking weird on the phone. She's like, it's like something's obvious. I can tell something's bothering her, but she's beating around the bush.
Now, your mom says, you say, does it involve me or other people? And your mom responds, well, probably both of us. Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. And I want to focus on those statements. Okay? When she says that to you, did you have any clue what she was talking about?
No, I think I asked her a few more questions after that.
Now, as the calls progress, do you know what she's talking about?
By the time I got to the end of the third call, I knew exactly what she was talking. I felt like I knew pretty much what she was talking about.
by that point in time, and I want to go back to this line, does it involve me or other people? Her answer, well, probably both of us, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. By the end of figuring out what this was, what did you understand her to be saying here?
By the time I got down to the third call, I realized fully what she was talking about in this call, in that she's getting extorted.
And so why the two of us?
She knows I was extorted 2 years earlier, and it's the same people that are coming to extort her for money. So she's trying to say like it's the same thing that happened to you is happening to me.
And just to be clear, about a month and a half after the extortion of you, who did you tell?
My mom, she's the only person I told.
Now, when she says it's probably the both of us, probably the two of us, you understand the state's theory is that this murder conspiracy was, in addition to Katie, Sigfredo, and Luis Rivera, you, your mom, your dad, your sister. Do you understand that?
I do now, yeah.
She doesn't say probably the four of us, does she?
No, she does not.
She doesn't say all of us, does she?
No.
She says the two of us, right?
Yeah.
Now, the bump, what was the bump?
The bump was an extortion from Latin King gang members. Or actually, it was the FBI pretending to be Latin King gang members.
Now, on this call, there's discussion about your dad's schedule. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Why was it important? Why do you learn later that it was important what your dad's schedule was?
Because my dad never knew what happened to me. And my mom was going to want to talk to me when my dad wasn't around.
If we could go to B, which is a call right after, and it's you calling your mom back.
Sure.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Good. Is it me not paying the Sun Pass? I'm kidding. No, listen, what was I gonna say? Do you mind paying my Brown and Brown insurance?
No.
Okay, because I'm gonna just stick with the same company.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is this, if you stay with the same company for 3 years, they can then try to bump you down into a lower bracket.
Oh, okay. So it's a good idea to do that.
So I might as well stay with them and then hope that that's actually true, that they can do what they said about putting it in a lower bracket.
Okay. So you want me to call Pam Hall?
Yeah, because I told her that my mom would call her because she handles like that stuff at the office.
Okay.
And then just send them in a check. Because they have to have it before, I want to say the 29th or something.
Okay.
And
I'll do that now.
do that. And listen, whatever it is, whatever someone sent you, I wouldn't worry too much about anything. I mean, so someone can write whatever they want to write, someone can say whatever they want to say, and I'm not worried. So, was it another bad review on Yelp?
You know, there's reviews from them. Sometimes they are bad reviews. This is a particularly bad one. So,
But I'm not being sued.
no.
Okay. All right. Honestly, whatever it is, and I wouldn't just judging from what you're making it sound like. I wouldn't stress it out too much.
Okay. Probably not.
Yeah. Listen, people can always write. People can always say anything they want. It doesn't. If someone says you're a bad dentist, it doesn't mean you're a bad dentist. So, But anyway, I'll definitely come down. It actually works out perfectly if I have the day off.
Okay. You know, so I'll make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you.
All right.
Okay?
Do I need to bring cash?
Yeah, it's like if you take me out to dinner, then I can.
I want to pause it there. You call your mom back and you start talking about the Sun Pass. Does that have anything to do with this case, the Sun Pass? Is it code?
SunPass is not code.
Why do you mention the Sun Pass?
Because a couple weeks earlier, my SunPass had gotten stolen out of the car from a valet. And I didn't realize it. My parents were getting all these bills, so they make a big deal about little things sometimes. So whatever it was, I was making fun of my mom. I thought she was like a small issue, like a SunPass thing.
And you then start talking about Brown and Brown Insurance. What's Brown and Brown Insurance? Is that code?
No, that was actually the reason I called her back, is that in the last call I forgot to tell her that I had to pay that insurance. Otherwise, if my insurance lapses, they'll cancel the policy. And it was due. So it was due by the 29th.
You then start making more guesses. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, still at a loss for what's going on.
You bring up Yelp. You bring up getting sued, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, any clue whatsoever what this is about at this point in time?
No, she just sounded really weird on the first call.
Okay. Then we get to the part that we just stopped. And she says to you, I will make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you. At that point in time, what happens to your demeanor? You can hear it on the call. What happens?
I stutter and I repeat back to her what she just said. I'm like, I got to bring cash with me. Like it was so out of place.
Why did that happen at that point in time?
I think she was trying to hint to me that she's getting extorted.
So what was odd about you bringing cash to dinner?
I put everything I possibly can on my credit card. That's how I've ended up saving up so much cash. But
And let's hear how you respond.
yeah.
That's probably a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this? I should bring cash. I don't have much cash to bring.
No, I'll see if I have money for dinner. Let's see what I have here. Okay.
Was it? Can I ask you? Is someone blackmailing you?
No, it's just a good possibility.
You think someone's trying to blackmail you?
Maybe.
No. That's crazy. Is there, I don't know what blackmail is called, but is there any way I can see you? You can't come up here at all?
It's going to be difficult because they don't finish the piano teacher doesn't need to the school. And even if I came up there and got there at 5:15, it would still be tough to, necessarily get back here in time for me to pick them up.
Was this, can I just ask you this? Is this anything government related, or is this like, whack job writing a letter to you?
Like who?
Is it like a whack job writing a letter to you, or is this government related?
No, I don't know if it's government related.
So it's not government or military or anything like that?
No.
Who was the letter addressed to?
Me.
To you? That's crazy. Did it have do you know who sent it to you?
I had a pretty good idea. But, we'll talk later. Either, I would like to, I will definitely, I just don't know if I'm going to get back here in time for them to
Is it whoever sent you the letter sent you an anonymous letter? Did they sign it? So someone showed up. Was it like by a process server?
That's what I did was.
It wasn't. Where did they come to you at?
When I walked out of the building, and they were out, and I past both driveways at the icon,
Right.
and then I walked in about 5 feet from pressing the button so that I could cross the street, pick up the doors, first thing,
Right.
and just to get on the sidewalk. Yeah. Okay, Stevie, so you say that.
So let's talk about this call. You ask your mom after she tells you to bring cash, is someone blackmailing you? And she says it's a good possibility. Now what are you thinking?
I'm starting to evaluate, I still don't have an idea, but I was extorted 21 months earlier. So I'm starting to evaluate, is it related to that, or what could it be?
And are you growing more concerned?
Very, yeah.
And you ask her who the letter was addressed to. Why do you ask her that?
Because I was the one who was extorted 21 months earlier. I had no idea why they'd be going to my mom. If it
Now-
was related to me.
You then mentioned the possibility of seeing your mom tonight, and she doesn't want to see you tonight. Why doesn't she want to see you?
Because she's watching the boys, and she didn't want Wendy to ask her, where were you? And have to tell her, what's going on.
Now, again, I thought, according to the state's theory, Wendy is a co-conspirator in this case, right?
That's part of their theory.
Now, you then say on this, is the person threatening you or anything? Why are you asking that?
Because on the night of the 18th, I was told if you don't pay in 48 hours, you're going to get killed. So I was trying to compare it to what happened to me to see if, is this related to what happened to me?
You later tell her that your advice to her is going to be to go to the police. Why would your advice to her to be to go to the police at this point in time?
Because I don't think it's related to what happened to me. When I asked my mom, are they threatening you? She was like, well, maybe. You never know how to interpret these things. And it was very clear what the threat was to me on the 18th. So okay, then it's something unrelated to, at that level of seriousness. Maybe it's something involving code enforcement or OSHA or somebody messing with them. So I was just like, all right, just go to the police.
Now, towards the end of the call, you say it wouldn't be the first time I'm being threatened. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
What were you referring to?
When I was extorted 21 months earlier, I was threatened. So I was trying to compare it to that to see, is it possibly related to what happened to me?
At the end of this call, do you know what is going on yet?
No, I don't know what's going on yet.
Let's go to the third call, which is 12 minutes later. And this is C. This is at 3:00 p.m. between you and your mom.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, sorry about that. Quick question for you. Well, one thing I was going to tell you is obviously don't talk about things in the apartment or any place.
Oh, obviously.
The other thing is, was the person black, white, Hispanic,
What?
and they just came up to you and they said your name and they handed you a piece of paper?
No, no, didn't hand it right away. First spoke to me for a while and then handed it to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they wearing hats, sunglasses, or?
No, nothing. Nothing. Describe them to a T.
What's that?
You could describe them to a T. No, nothing.
Was the person nervous or were they angry or?
No, calm as could be. Totally calm.
That's really crazy. Are they are they trying to ask for money or something?
Yeah, yeah.
But if someone's trying to, I mean, listen, if it's something like that, it sounds probably like to go to the police, but
And they have to, but they'd rather talk to you first and then.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, there's scumbags out there all the time that try to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So,
That's why I just want you to see, because I don't want, I don't want your father upset.
don't say anything to Dad until I take a look at it, because Dad's lies off
Absolutely. Absolutely.
on everything.
That's why I suggested, after he goes to work tomorrow.
Did the person give you any kind of like time frame or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
clear. It's clear what's wanted.
What is, kind of exactly what do they ask for?
I don't know, this TV is probably about $5.
They ask you for $5,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then she, girlfriend. Hi, Sandra. Come on in. Good. How are you? Okay.
that's crazy. Let me take a look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go from there.
Your turn. Lincoln's going first. Okay, do that one. Yeah, that was good.
Now, in the 12 minutes before this call, had you started to put the pieces together and figure out what was going on a little bit?
A little bit. I was thinking about the first call and the second call, and the more I thought about it, I thought this is related to what happened to me. Somehow this is related to it.
And what does your attention shift to in the very beginning of this call?
I wanted to compare it to what happened to me 21 months earlier to see are these the same people that are doing this.
And so the first question you ask, were they black, white, or Hispanic? Why do you ask that question?
Because I always suspected that it was Sigfredo that did it. I mean, process in my head, that was my first guess, and that's who I would have guessed it was. When I met him, he was an angry guy, and I was trying to see is this somebody fitting his description that's maybe coming to my mom and doing this.
Why do you ask her? Did they give you a time frame?
Because that night I was told you got 48 hours to pay up. I'm trying to compare it to, is this person telling my mom you got 48 hours to pay up?
Now, she says no, but it is clear what is wanted. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And then she says, this TV is probably about 5. Now, before we get there, in the very start of the call, you say don't talk about anything in the apartment or any place. Why do you say that to your mom?
Well, that was one of the first things I told her when I told her what had happened to me when I got extorted and was picking up the checks from her, is to never talk about it with anybody, not talk about it on the phone, don't talk in the apartment, is that there's always a chance that the police are listening.
And what would you be afraid the police were listening to if you didn't do a murder?
I never wanted anyone to know I was extorted.
Why didn't you want the police to know you were extorted? What would happen if the police knew you were extorted?
They would come talk to me.
And what would happen if they came and talked to you? What did you think would happen at that point?
If they came to talk to me, if I decided to talk to them, I'd have to tell them what happened to me. And if I told them what happened to me, my life would be in danger. These people would come find me, they'd find someone in my family. I mean, they don't care.
Now, going back to the TV comment, where she says, this TV is probably about 5. Did you have code words with your mom that TV I think they said, do you have that sheet, what TV equals?
It's under clerk's statement.
It's actually locked out. Did TV, was it a code word?
There is absolutely no code word involving TV whatsoever.
Now, by the way, your response isn't, no, it's an air conditioner. Your response is, they want $5,000? Was there any code there?
Not at all. I just wanted to clarify what was being said to me, to repeat it back.
Your mom then brings up that they brought up an ex-girlfriend. Do you remember that?
I do.
Now, Ms. Kappelman, in her cross-examinations, went through how you had several ex-girlfriends after Katie Magbanua. You recall that?
I do.
Did any of your other ex-girlfriends become involved in a situation where you were extorted?
I only had one ex-girlfriend whose friends extorted me.
So once she brings up your ex-girlfriend, did you have a pretty good idea of what was going on?
Oh, I knew exactly what was going on at this point. Well, almost exactly what was going on.
By the way, also during this call, you again remind your mom not to say anything to your father, right?
Yes, I did.
At the end of this call, what do you decide to do?
I'm going to give Katie a call.
And why are you going to reach out to Katie?
I want to see if her friends extorting my mom that she knows of, because she sure knew what had happened to me.
We're going to now publish D, Your Honor, already in evidence.
You may.
And this is a call between you and Catherine Magbanua at 4:27 p.m. on that same day, correct?
Yes.
You want to use your headphones?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
No, are you someplace you can talk to me?
So what?
Are you any place that you can talk to me?
You talking now?
What's that?
Just talk right now. Just talk.
Okay, can you go somewhere that's not loud when I'm talking to you?
I can't. It's like loud, like I can't get out.
Okay, I'm trying to walk outside and talk to you right now. I can't even fucking get outside. Alright, wait, you better not. Alright, somebody, hang on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear.
Okay, I just want you to listen to me. I'll be able to talk to you, in person when I see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom walked the kids. I only heard part of the story,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna go down there and talk to her tomorrow to find out what's going on.
Okay.
If she didn't want to elaborate,
Uh-huh.
but she said that someone approached her on the street,
Uh-huh.
called her by name,
Mm-hmm.
handed her an envelope with something in it,
Yeah.
and somebody she really wouldn't go into detail, and I have no idea what this is in reference to,
Uh-huh.
but something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for some money.
What?
Yeah. So I said, well, yeah. I'm like, first what you're saying, I thought it was like something involving the IRS or a patient
Yeah.
or something like that. So I don't even know what the fuck it's about at all.
So somebody just like bumped into your mom like that?
So they came up to her on the street after she dropped the kids off at school.
Wow.
I guess she brought them to school. I don't even know. But it must know her routine. It must know who she is.
Yeah.
They walked up to her. They called her by name.
Uh-huh.
They handed her an envelope.
Uh-huh.
And she said they spoke to her for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then she said they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend. I have no fucking clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And then they explained that they needed to be paid some money.
For what?
I don't even know if my mom didn't even want to talk to me on the phone. But
But like, did she see the person? Or was she like, you should have like,
oh yeah,
asked her
I
something?
said, that's what I said. I said, someone's going to try to blackmail you or something.
Exactly,
Right.
right, running you like that.
I said, you got to go straight to the police. And she's like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't want to talk about it. I go, well, take a picture and send me what it is. She's like, I just want you to see the person. So I'm going to go there. I can't even fucking go there today because I won't get out of work until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So she's like, just,
So
I'm
who's
down
like
here.
stalking your mom?
I don't even fucking know. I don't know what's going on, what my mom's involved. I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. I mean, yeah.
Who's what I'm doing wrong?
Let me pause it right there. You say, and I quote, I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom.
I did say that.
What were you asking her?
Are your friends extorting my mom that you know of? Are they up to this?
Now, during this call, you say, I have no idea what this is in reference to. Why do you say that to Katie?
I'm calling her up and talking about something that she'd asked me to never talk about, and I never planned on talking about it. So I wanted to let her know that I wasn't setting her up, and that I needed her help. That's why I was calling her up.
And you make reference to an ex-girlfriend, but you're kind of wishy-washy whether she's the ex-girlfriend. Why?
Because I was implying it was her, but I didn't want her to feel like I was setting her up.
She says to you, when you say, I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. She says, what would I do with your mom? And you say, just checking.
Yep.
Katie seems surprised on this call.
Very.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel good. It made me feel like it wasn't her friends that were doing it. I mean, she knew when it happened last time. She definitely wasn't acting surprised.
What was your level of concern at this point in time?
It was probably medium. I mean, I was still pretty concerned. My mom didn't sound right on the phone.
Now, there's a call that occurs after this call that is not in evidence, where Katie calls you back. Do you recall what Katie wanted you to do when she called you back?
She wanted me to go down there that night to see my parents.
And did she seem very concerned?
She was extremely concerned when she called me back.
Did you go to see your mom that night?
No, I finished work probably after 10, and I went down there the next afternoon.
Okay, so let's talk about the next day. So just to be clear, the bump happens and these calls happen on April 19th, 2016, right?
Yes.
We're now at April 20th. Where did you meet your mom?
I met her in the lobby of the building.
And did you go anywhere with her?
Yeah, we went for a short walk and ended up sitting on a bench.
What time approximately did you get to Miami and see your mom?
I'd say like 1:30ish.
Okay. Why did you meet her then?
Because she wanted to wait for my dad to go to work.
Where did, when you walked to this bench, it's outside of a restaurant called Monty's, right? Not far from a restaurant called Monty's?
Yeah, it's right next to Monty's, actually.
Did you notice anyone following you?
No,
As you sit here today, do you know that you were being followed?
today I do, yeah.
Okay. Now, I think State's Exhibit 54 has been put in evidence. It's a picture of you and your mom on that bench outside of Monty's. Is that a fair depiction of where you were?
Yeah, we were sitting.
There's been testimony, I think, by Special Agent Sanford that you and your mom were whispering or trying not to be heard. Is that testimony true?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted some privacy for sure.
And how was your mom acting?
She was very scared.
What did she tell you?
Well, she told me that she went to go pick the boys up from school, and that this really big guy came over to her and said that you've been helping out Katie and Tuto, and my brother Tato is going through a hard time, and he's incarcerated, and my brother Tato did a big favor for you, and you need to do what's right. You need to take care of my brother Tato. My mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the guy handed her a copy of an article, and it had $5,000 written on it, and it also had a cell phone written on it.
At this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever who Tato was?
No, I've never heard of Tato in my life.
Okay, so let me make sure that we're all on the same page. You knew who Tuto was, right?
Tuto is Sigfredo Garcia.
But you had no idea of anyone named Tato or Luis Rivera, correct?
Never heard of that name before.
Did your mom show you the paper that was given to her?
Yes, she did.
Do you recall if you took the paper with you or whether you wrote down the phone number from the paper?
I don't know whether I took the paper with me or I just took a piece of paper and wrote the phone number down to the paper. One of the two, but I did have the number with me when I left.
Okay. Now, at this point in time, when you're meeting with your mom, what was she concerned about?
I mean, she was concerned that she was going to get hurt, and that they were going to hurt her, and then someone else in the family was going to pay. And she wanted to go to the police.
What did you tell your mom in response? What was your theory at this point in time?
I was telling my mom, this is so different than what happened to me. I said, you know, it could actually. I was actually thinking it could have been Sigfredo Garcia, because him and Katie were in this explosive fight, and I always suspected that it was him, and that he's now extorting my mom, and that's what it was. So I thought it could be that. That scared my mom a lot. But then I said, you know what, this is probably the police. I said, it's, you know, they're not telling you 48 hours or you're going to get killed. They're not hiding who they are for the first, you know, even at that point, I only suspected Sigfredo. This guy's not even hiding who he is. He's not wearing a hat. He's not wearing glasses. He's not trying to conceal himself. You know, the first time I wasn't given a cell phone number. This time they're giving cell phone numbers. They're giving names. They're giving all this information. I'm like, Mom, I think this is the police.
What did you tell your mom you were going to do?
I told her that I was going to go ahead and go talk to Katie and see if she thinks that this is possibly, if this is Sigfredo, who I was suspected, and if it is, see if she could get him to stop.
Now, did your mom during this meeting tell you anything about your dad?
Yeah.
What did she say?
She was really worried that her safety was an issue now, and my dad's with her all the time, and she's like, look, I know you don't want me to say anything to Dad, but I have to say something to him. Like, this has gone too far. I can't not. So I told her, I said, if you tell him, you got to promise not to say anything to Wendy. Please do not let him go to the police. Like, this is you're gonna put my life at risk. You're gonna put your life at risk. Like, let me just figure out if Katie could get these people to stop, if she's related to them somehow, and identify them and get them to stop.
Why were you so adamant that she not tell Wendy?
I thought Wendy would go to the police, and I thought my dad would too, but my mom swore that she'd be able to get him not to go.
What did you tell your mom about what you would do with your dad after she told him?
I said, after you tell Dad what's going on, I said, I'll be happy to have him come over to my house, or I'll meet him. I'm sure he's going to have a whole bunch of questions, and I'll talk to Dad tomorrow.
Now, after you left your mom, what did you do next?
I left, and then I drove up to see Katie. She was probably working she was working for a real estate company, and it was about 15 minutes away from my parents' place.
And I think we heard the calls. I'm not going to play them again. Did you call her to find out the address and where to meet her?
I got the address, and then I called her again as I was pulling into the plaza because I'd never been there before, and she walked out of the office that she was working at.
Okay. Now, when you got to her, by the way, where she was working, was it in a strip mall?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there, where was she?
She was standing in front of the I think it was Optimar Realty. She had just come outside so she could wave me down.
And did you go straight into the restaurant, or did something happen before you went into the restaurant later?
She walked over to the car. I pulled up into a parking spot. She walked over to the car. I wanted to talk to her, so I said, hop in the car. I need to talk to you.
Now, did you know that you were being followed?
No, not at all.
When she got in the car, what did you learn and what happened?
Well, she asked me what happened to my mom, and I told her, and I said, do you think this is T? I said, well, I said, was T behind what happened to me? And she looked at me, she said, yes.
And what did you ask her about the information your mom had received when she was approached on the street?
I asked her if she thought that this was T. Do you think he's doing this to my mom? Because you guys are fighting. Like a week or so earlier, they had this explosive fight because she saw his phone and some girl was sending her text messages of a tattoo that she just got at like 3 a.m. So they were like breaking up, and now that my mom's getting extorted and she's having a fight with him, I'm suspecting that it's him.
Do you bring up the name Tato?
Yes.
What happened when you brought up the name Tato?
I said, have you ever heard of some guy Tato? Like, I thought it was a joke that there's a Tuto and a Tato. Like, have you ever heard of Tato? And she started talking.
What did she say?
She said, yeah, I know Tato. Tato is Tuto's best friend. And she said, he's a bad dude. He's the head of the Latin Kings. She said, they went up to Tallahassee, and he's the one who rented a car, and he's the one who did this to Dan. And off my head's like, I'm freaking out because this is the guy that's now extorting my mom. And I'm like, Katie, is this guy incarcerated? Like, she's like, yeah. I'm like, does he have brothers? She said he's got like 4 or 5 brothers, but he's got a couple hundred brothers in the Latin Kings in Miami.
Let's stop there for a second. So why did you ask her if he was incarcerated?
Because the guy who came up to my mom said, my brother Tato is incarcerated. He's going through a hard time, and he needs your help. You need to take care of him the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuto.
Now, when Katie is telling you that there is a Tato, that he's the head of the Latin Kings, that he's incarcerated, and you know he has brothers, what starts going through your mind?
Holy shit, this is real. Like this is real extortion, and it's happening again.
What does Katie tell you about what happened in Tallahassee and who did what?
She told me that T was high on drugs, and got fast food. And
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second just to make it clear to the jury. I'm going to ask you, I know she used their nicknames.
Yeah.
Okay? Make that clear. But for the purposes of today, let's use their names so
Okay.
that there's no confusion. Okay?
So-
I understand in the car she used nicknames, either Tato, Tuto, or T. But just for the purposes of today, use their names. Okay? What did she tell you about who did what in Tallahassee?
She said that Sigafredo was high on drugs at the hotel, and that Luis Rivera was the one who shot Dan.
Now, did she tell you that Tato was also behind your extortion? Or no?
She said that Sigfredo brought him to go do this, and that it was he got paid, but it was the extorter was Sigfredo.
Did she describe to you, you said she described to you about a rental car. Did she describe to you anything about the payments the next day?
Yes,
What did she tell you?
she said when she brought the money, she met up with them and she gave the money to Sigfredo and him, and that she didn't touch any of it, and that she didn't take a single dime for herself or anything like that.
Now, when you're hearing this in the car, by the way, how long do you think you were in the car for?
10 to 15 minutes, probably closer to 10.
How are you feeling, and what do you now want to do when you're in the car? You've just told your mom that you think it's the police, that it's all going to be okay. Now you've heard that there is a real Tato. How are you feeling, and what are you thinking about doing at this point in time?
I'm freaking out because I thought it was Sigfredo. Then I'm hearing all this stuff about this guy Tato, his name is Luis Rivera. Everything seeming real. I was extorted. Now my mom's getting extorted. Katie's telling me she doesn't think it's Tato or his people. He wouldn't do it like this. He would have done it the way it happened to me. She's telling me that she thinks it's a copycat of one of Tato's, someone who knows Tato and is doing a copycat on him and doing their own extortion, or it's probably she thinks it's the police.
Okay. Now, how is she acting in the car?
She's upset. She's very upset.
And you've told her that they used her name, correct?
Yes.
What do you decide to do after she tells you this bombshell information?
Well, I mean, I had more questions than answers when I got done talking to her in the car. I was more confused than ever. And I had told my mom I'm going to talk to Katie and see if her friend is behind this and if she can get him to stop. And now it's like open the door to all these other possibilities and scenarios of what it could be and what to do. So Katie was the only person on the planet that I could talk to about this and see if I could try to get it to stop. So I said, Katie, you want to go inside and get some coffee? And I thought I'd be able to talk to her more and try to see what are we supposed to do.
Now, we know you like to talk. How about when you're scared and trying to figure things out?
I mean, I was freaking out. I was freaking out, and I'm trying to figure things out by talking out different scenarios out loud, thinking if it's this, we do this, or if we do this, what'll happen, or if we do this, what'll happen, and that's why it's a lot of it's very jumbled up because I'm all over the place.
Okay. So you decide to go inside and get coffee. Katie agrees with you, and is that when you go into the restaurant called, and I always I pronounce it wrong, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Dolce Vita?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When you went into the restaurant, who did you think was behind it? Well, let me start by saying something else. You've seen the audio of you in that restaurant, right? With Katie.
Yes.
before that audio started, had you met with Katie in the restaurant for about 20 or 30 minutes?
We've been in there about a half hour talking.
So that audio doesn't capture anything in the beginning of your conversation, right?
Yes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the conversation. Obviously, it's many years ago. You're not going to remember word for word what was said. But generally, what was Katie telling you, and what were you telling Katie?
Katie was saying that it's the police. And I didn't care if it was the police. I was there because it was a bad guy. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is my family really in danger, and what should we do? And if they are in danger, what should we do?
Did you know that law enforcement, at some point in the conversation, started to record you?
No, I thought we were alone.
Now, your conversation with Katie in the restaurant, how were you talking? Were you talking freely or carefully?
No, I always spoke to Katie carefully.
Why was it so important for you to talk carefully to Katie in this restaurant?
Whenever I spoke to Katie, I needed her help. So I never wanted her to feel like I was trying to set her up or set her friends up, and in that regard. So every time I said something or phrased something, I was always really careful in how I spoke to her.
And again, at this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever that Katie was part of the extortion of you?
No, I did not think she was ever a part of it.
Now, the first thing that is caught on the recording is if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
What were you saying here, and what was it in context to of what had been said before?
Okay, directly before that, Katie was talking about it being the police and that she thinks it's the police. And I'm like, it's fine if it's the police. Like, we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence. Like, if we had anything to do with this, I'd be going to the airport right now if what you're saying is that it's the police. Like, they're not going to have evidence to show that we did something that we didn't do.
Charlie, without getting into all the details that I did with Agent Sanford, this communication at Dolce Vita happened in 2016. You were arrested in 2022. When did you know that the state thought that you had participated in the murder of Professor Markel?
When the probable cause affidavit was released.
And when was that affidavit released approximately?
I think it was leaked to the media, and I saw it in August of 2016.
Did you ever try to flee the country
Never.
after August 2016?
Never.
Why not?
Because I wasn't part of a murder. They weren't going to have any evidence to show I was part of a murder.
Now, you say during Dolce Vita, one second, Your Honor, I'm sorry, lost my spot. Is Dolce Vita a bit of an argument between you and Katie?
Yeah, you could say that.
And what is the argument about?
She's taking the position that it's the police, and you can't pay the police. And I wasn't as focused on the police as I was focused on, well, if it's a bad guy, what do we do? Like, we can't go to the police.
Why were you not focused on it being the police?
Because I didn't do a murder. I wasn't worried if it was the police.
Now, if it was a bad guy, what did you want her to do? What did you want Katie to do?
I wanted her to reach out to them and see if she could get them to stop. You know, maybe threaten them. Maybe she could pay them. Maybe she could tell them she's going to pay them. It's a one-time thing. I want to see if she could identify them and get them to stop.
Why did you want her to do that as opposed to you doing that?
She knew who the original people were. She knew Sigfredo, she knew this guy, Luis Rivera, and she'd be the only person who'd be able to identify them and get them to stop, and maybe they'd be afraid of her.
Now, throughout this recording, several times you try to sound tough. Is that the case?
Absolutely.
You say, I carry a gun on me, right?
Yes, I said that.
I mean, someone comes up to me. If someone comes up to me, they'd better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot them. Someone come up to me asking for money in my house. When the fucking police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his fucking driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. I'll take a break right there. Why are you talking tough?
I want to let her know, like, I've had enough. Like, and, you know, they're messing with my mom, they mess with me. Like, I've literally just had enough, and I'm trying to send that message.
Why do you bring up a gang member?
Because 45 minutes earlier, when I was sitting in the car with Katie, she told me that Luis Rivera was the head of the Latin Kings. And that's who the second extortion was, a Latin King gang member who was extorting my parents, which was actually the FBI, but it was...
Immediately after you say those lines, though, you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway. Why do you say that? You're being tough, and then you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I didn't want to scare her into thinking that I'm some kind of loose end, that at any point was I going to the police. I was making it clear that at no point I was going to the police.
You then say, Katie, this is not like some chick showing tattoos to your man. What are you talking about here?
That was in reference to their explosive fight that would send her and Sigfredo in opposite directions, and I was thinking that he was behind what had happened to my mom. I thought he was just sending a third party to collect.
And what are you trying to tell Katie to do?
I'm telling her to call this person and to contact them and see if she can get them to stop.
Now, you then say, they're not going away. I may wish they'd go away, but they're not going away. And then there's a bunch of unintelligibles, and there's a line that says, that you say, well, with a beard or a badge. Do you have any idea what you were talking about there?
I think we were talking about, is it a police officer or a bad guy?
And again, well, who would be the beard?
The beard would be a bad guy.
And who again was Katie trying to convince you it was?
She was trying to convince me it's the police.
Now, we've seen this conversation live, although we can't hear all of it. Are you doing more of the talking or more of the listening?
I'm doing the thinking out loud and talking.
You're not really listening to her at all, right?
No.
You again say, listen, if a badge comes up to you, tell them, have a nice day, officer. And she says, yeah, no, perfect. You say, if not, I don't talk to cops, sorry. And she says, yeah, no, perfect. What are you saying to Katie here?
I'm reassuring her that I'm keeping my mouth shut and I'm not going to the police and I'm not trying to set her up. But I wanted her to see if maybe make a payment.
Now, you say this person is not, this is after her long unintelligible. You say, well, Katie, this person is not going away. They came very equipped with details. What details are you talking about here?
They know about my payment to her with the checks. they know about the payment.
You then go on a bunch of long discussions about DNA in a rental car. Why do you bring up a rental car?
Because 40 minutes earlier, I was sitting in a car with her, and she was telling me that Luis Rivera rented a car.
And during these long discussions, you're talking about how you don't really know anything. You, Charlie, doesn't really know anything. Why are you telling her repeatedly that you don't know anything?
I'm trying to reassure her that I'm harmless and that I don't have any real knowledge of what went on, and that, you know, I'm not some loose end that you guys need to go try to clean up.
Now, you then say, they said the guy's name was Tuto. I don't even know who the fuck it is. Did you know who Tuto was?
I knew who Tuto was.
Was this you confusing the names Tuto and Tato?
That's exactly what it was. I was getting the names mixed up.
And she asks you to describe what he looked like, right?
Yes.
And you say, some of it's unintelligible, but you say, well-spoken, like polite. She goes, polite and well-spoken. I said, did he act thug, or did he talk with like a thick Spanish accent or anything? She said no. I said, was he white or Hispanic? She said he was white, but he could have been Hispanic. Why were these facts important to you and Katie?
Because I was comparing the original extortion that I had to the person that's extorting my mom to see if they fit the description.
And she says, so recognizable, and you say with no glasses, no hat, very well dressed. And she says, well dressed? As you're talking about this, what are the both of you trying to figure out?
We're trying to figure out, is this related to, is this real extortion or is this the police?
And what is Katie telling you of why she doesn't think this is real extortion and why she thinks it's the police?
Because of how it's being done, and these people wouldn't do it this way. But it still opened up the door to her where she said it could be a copycat and somebody just trying to piggyback the extortion and make it their own.
Now, you say to her, every time she's telling you it's the police, you kind of push back. Why do you push back?
The whole purpose of me being there with her was not to hear if it was the police. I needed her help if it wasn't the police.
10 minutes and 28 seconds into the recording, not the meeting, but the recording. The following thing is what you say. They didn't mention my name, which makes me think that these people only know part of the story, or they think they know part of the story. What are you telling Katie here?
I'm saying they didn't mention my name. They don't even know I was extorted, and that they only know part of the story. They know about the checks that my mom was writing to you, or they think they know part of the story. They don't realize that that was payment for an extortion, not payment for a murder.
So whoever's doing this thinks that you did a murder because they don't know that you were extorted.
Exactly.
And by the way, isn't that exactly what the bump is?
The bump is an extortion.
But isn't the bump designed in a way that they thought you did part of a murder, and the responses they got They didn't understand because they only knew part of the story.
That's exactly it.
You then say, when everybody was there the next day, did you take any money? It's not like you're driving around in a Bentley, cruising around in a mega yacht. Someone, he must at some point, because otherwise he would have no idea I had anything to do with. First of all, remind the jury, how did you know what happened on July 19th, and when did you learn that?
In July 19th, July 18th.
How did you know about the money drop? Let me ask that question.
Okay. Katie told me that the next day she brought the money to Luis and Sigfredo Garcia.
When did she tell you that?
She told me that in the car 30 minutes earlier.
Now, when you're asking this question, who is the everybody that you are referring to?
Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera.
What are you confirming here and why?
That she's not a part of it. I mean, she's broke. I was being sarcastic when I'm like, you're not cruising around in a mega yacht or driving a Bentley. Like, her card's getting declined at Old Navy, and she's borrowing $300 from me. So I didn't think she was a part of it. I didn't think at the time that she took any of that money. So that's why I said it like that, is that you didn't take any of the money next day, and they're saying that, like, I'm helping you out. So I'm thinking that, like, Sigfredo must have said something to Luis about the little things that I do to help you out with, lending you money. I gave her a car with 160,000 miles on it. Sigfredo must have said something to Luis, and then maybe one of his people is now trying to extort my family.
And in response, what does she say to you? Who does she say it is?
She thinks it's the police.
And so then you say to her, it could, I wish that it was a cop playing games. Why did you wish it was a cop playing games?
Because then it meant that my mom wasn't being extorted by Latin King gang members.
You say, and I'm not involved. You recall saying that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you specifically mention the word extortion in Dolce Vita? Why didn't you say, Katie, why are these the same people that did to me? These are the same people that are doing this to my mom that did it to me back in July of 2014. Why didn't you just say that in this recording?
I was being real careful when I spoke to Katie. I would never say the word extortion to her.
Why not?
Because I would get zero help, and she'd think I was setting her up.
And what were you
Probably
most
killed.
concerned about at this point in time?
I was most concerned about the gang member that's now extorting my mom, and also about trying to get Katie to help me to stop it.
Again, you say, if it's a cop, I'm happy because I've got nothing to hide. You say that at least 3 times. Why do you tell her that?
Because she keeps on saying that it's the police. And I'm not worried about if it's the police. I'm worried about if it's a gang member and that's coming after my mom.
And as she's pushing back that she doesn't want to make the payment or reach out to the person, you then bring up, it's going to put a spotlight in the investigation. You start talking about the FBI and BBC News. First of all, what investigation are you talking about?
The murder investigations of Dan Markel.
And why are you trying to tell Katie that this is going to put a spotlight on this investigation? Why are you trying to tell her that?
I'm trying to tell her that this is a big deal. Like, if we go to the police on the second extortion, they're going to catch the second extortion, and when they catch them, they're going to turn, and the second extortion is going to turn in the first extortion, and then when you catch the first extortion, the police are going to come talk to us, and then when we tell them what happened, you're going to be in a lot of danger. There's no way I can talk to the police. So by catching the second, it's going to turn in the first. And that's exactly what I say in there.
Now, you tell her that you want her to give the guy the money, right?
Yes.
And she, again, what's her reaction to that?
She's like, you can't pay the cops. They're going to arrest you. They're going to think you're a part of it.
And so then you give a long-winded explanation of what she can say that won't incriminate herself, right?
Or make the police come talk to her. So I was saying, just tell them that you don't know anything.
Again, what are you trying to convince her to do?
Make a payment.
And she's refusing, right?
Yeah.
You say, that's all I was able to come up with. If it's the police, they can't take the money. They can't take the money. They won't even come meet you. If it's this guy, maybe in the back of he knows, unintelligible, fuck off, unintelligible, and that now he's fucking with his wife, and if he's fucking with him, you fuck with the king himself, you'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. What are you trying to say to her here?
I'm saying that maybe if you go and contact these people, they're going to know who you are. And they're going to realize that they'll know that your husband is Sigfredo Garcia. Sigfredo is about as scary of a guy as you can meet. And if Sigfredo has a problem with you, the only thing you could do to stop Sigfredo if he wants to come after you is to kill Sigfredo. So I wasn't talking about killing him, but I was saying if he knows who you are, he's going to be a big problem. So the only way they could stop Sigfredo is if they killed him, because he's a dangerous guy.
And is that precisely why you wanted her to be contacting this person?
Yeah, because they would know who her husband is, and they would cut it out.
You then say, and so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be like that Nazi shit, because this will be done. Who used that terminology with you?
That was an expression that Katie would use. She would say, like, this Nazi shit, like to go crazy on somebody. And that was a term that she would use, and I used it back to her. And it meant, I was saying, like, listen, like, I'm trying to sound tough also. So I said, listen, I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on this person and get them to stop. Like, this needs to end.
You say, I don't care what I have to spend. Ms. Kappelman asked one of the witnesses, aren't you admitting to doing a murder for hire here?
Absolutely not. I'm saying that I'll get somebody to act and go crazy on who's ever doing this and get them to stop. I mean, I'm not a scary guy like Sigfredo Garcia is, so I was trying to sound intimidating.
You then say, he doesn't have any bad feelings towards me, does he? Our paths never cross. I didn't know that the two of you would be working out. Why do you ask this?
Because I'm saying, like, I've been compliant. I've been paying every single month. It's not like I didn't do anything to him. I was still thinking maybe it could be him that's doing this, as I was saying.
Now, in the video, you see Katie leaving the table for a bit, right?
Yes.
She leaves for about 2 minutes. And what happens when she leaves, before she comes back?
It's probably the first 2 minutes in the last 45 or 50 minutes that I stopped talking and just sat there and started thinking about everything that we've been talking about.
And as you're sitting there and thinking about it, what goes through your mind? What do you realize?
I just started thinking again about how different how different this is, and that the person's not hiding who they are. You know, there's no, I'm going to kill you in 48 hours. They're giving lots of information. You know, this is not the same people.
When she comes back, you give her the number, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember if you gave her a piece of paper, or if she, do you have any recollection of whether you gave her a piece of paper or she wrote down a number, or whether do you have any idea, any memory this many years later?
No, I think I may have just said it to her verbally or given her paper. I don't remember sitting here today.
Okay. And then you immediately start talking about how the guy didn't have glasses or a hat. Why was that the first thing that you started talking to her about when she came back?
Because I was thinking, like, for 2 years, I had no idea. You know, nothing was confirmed and the identity was hidden. It was just her friend. Now, all of a sudden, this guy shows up and he's not even taking the precaution of trying to hide his identity. He has no problem showing his face.
And at this point in time, when she comes back, who do you think is behind this?
I'm coming around to her way of thinking that it's probably the police and a small chance that it's some sort of copycat, but more than likely it's just the police. It's the police.
What do you ask her to do?
I still ask her to call the number just in the chance that, like, hey, if I'm wrong and it's not the police and it turns out to be somebody that really is dangerous, like I'm betting my mom's life on it being the police. So at least just call and make it so for that peace of mind that we confirm it is what we think it is.
At the end of the recording, you see that you're actually joking about something.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel at the end of your meeting with her in Dolce Vita?
No, I feel much better. I mean, I'm back to the way I started when I came out there, is that I was thinking it was probably the police, and I felt even more likely it was the police after I got done with meeting with her.
Now, when you repeatedly say during this recording that you hope it's the police, did you understand that if it was the police, they thought they would be thinking that you were part of a murder?
Correct.
So why were you hoping it was the police?
Well, I wasn't part of a murder, and if it was the police, it meant there was no danger. Nobody's going to get hurt, and there's no danger to anyone in my family.
Judge, I'm going to move on to another topic.
Before you do that, members of the jury, does anyone need to take a break? Please raise your hand. We will take a brief break. For the next 10 minutes, we'll resume a little bit after 3:30.